What radio? The music you want.
With your host, Keys Dan.
Nice, I like.
RadioWhat.com. What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? DJLittleRock.com. Check availability, get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me, yes, little old B, at your event, DJing your party. Today on the program, Casey Swann. Saw her on the Facebook and the Instagram, and she's very inspirational, a motivational speaker, faith-based. She's a mama, and she's got a story to tell. So, yeah, you got that to look forward to. Check it out, Casey Swann. All right, party people, let's see. The shows this week, I think I'm posting this Saturday. So Saturday, I'll be at the Choctaw VFW. Tonight, next week, Saturday, it's an all-day event. It's the Cause Prom, the Cause Con in the daytime and Cause Prom in the evening over at the Little Rock International Airport. That's on July 27th. So I'm recording this on July 20th. Hopefully I put it all together and get it out for you, party people. All right, let's get to know Casey Swann. Yeah, she met up with me over at the Bryant Library. So, yeah, I don't even have to call Casey Swann. So let's get to the show. Casey Swann, now. We're live, Casey Swann. Casey Swann, motivational speaker, all that kind of thing.
Yes.
It's so good to be here in person with you. Usually I'm doing these things on the phone.
Are you?
Yeah. Well, I do them all over the world. Yeah. So anytime it's outside of North America, Canada and Mexico, you could still do it on the phone. But anytime it's outside of there, I've done some in England and Australia, and I have to Skype them. Yeah. So it's nice to do a face-to-face. And, yeah, we're here at it's one of the Saline County libraries.
Yes.
Is that where we're at?
In Bryant, yeah.
And you've had an interesting morning.
I have.
Tell me about it. You said you didn't wake up with your alarm.
No, I set my alarm for 8 o'clock it was like 7 o'clock actually, so that I could go do yoga this morning and then be ready to come here. Well, I stayed at a friend's house because we were just all talking, and I fell asleep to a movie after like crying over stuff. Like we were just talking and being emotional and whatnot, and I fell asleep. And then they said that I looked like I needed that sleep, so they let me sleep. And I was like, okay, I know I probably need sleep, sure, but I need you to wake me up too. Like if my alarm doesn't go, I thought my alarm went off, I don't know. But yeah, it was 11:30, and they're like, don't you have somewhere to be at 12? And I was like, yeah. And I just jumped off the couch and got dressed in my car and...
Wait, so this is something you can do? You can get dressed in your car?
Well, these days, because I am going through a divorce, that, me and my husband have separate... We're not around each other, only have the kids. So he has them at night, and I have them during the day. And so, like, I kind of live out of my car, just like clothes-wise and all that stuff. And then I kind of bounce from like friends' houses and my parents' house and my house.
Well, this doesn't sound like the best situation there, Casey Swann, where you're living out of your car, living out of your vehicle.
But it's after everything that's happened, it's almost like the most freeing thing because you can kind of just go wherever and do. I mean, if my kids obviously are my first priority, but like when I know that they're being taken care of by their dad, I just live life and just trying to, I guess, meet people, heal, because I've had a lot to heal from in my past and even recently, and it's just I don't know. I just pack a bunch of clothes, and if I just kind of go where the life takes me.
Casey Swann, I never know where these conversations are going to go. And these are just conversations. A lot of people think, oh, I'm getting interviewed. No, you're not. It's really a conversation. I'm getting to know you, Casey Swann, and the people that are listening get to have a little insight on who you are. And the reason I thought about you and getting you on the podcast is you're very motivational. And that's what I see on your social media side. But there's always a behind the scenes. There's always a story to tell. And you gave me a little insight on what was going on, and I'm sorry to hear about your divorce. It's never good when a marriage ends, when a marriage fails, because when you first got into it, you were probably looking to spend a future with this man, right? And you made some children, several, plural?
We have a 7 and an almost 2-year-old.
7 and a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
So, 2-year-old means that 2 years ago, everything was going great? Everything was fine with you, Casey Swann? As far as you could see?
Yeah. Because my husband was deployed. He was in Africa.
Sure.
And so I got pregnant. So he proposed right before Thanksgiving in 2016. A week later, I found out I was pregnant, and I was like, well, that's perfect timing, because we've been together for 7 years.
Okay. Yeah, so you had the other child.
Yeah.
Same person, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And so, we didn't have the most conventional relationship, and, we were one of those people that maybe marriage will fix it. And, but then, of course, I ended up getting pregnant again, surprisingly. And so that was a big whirlwind for me too. I was like, okay, I just got engaged. Now I'm married. Now I'm pregnant. And so then we just decided to go get eloped. So we get eloped right before he deploys to go to Africa for a year. And so I was like, lots of big changes. And so I spent my whole pregnancy while he's overseas, and I don't know, it was fine. Like I survived. I was able to be fine. And it was almost like we thrived better when we were apart. So
I've heard that a lot in some situations. Was it absence makes the heart grow fonder?
I guess,
so
or something. You could just, because they're not around to, do the things that sometimes bother people, like the little things that we just all get upset over. Like we just know that they're gone and we miss them, and we're like, hey, I'm here. Plus, I had a baby, and I was just extra emotional, and I was like all about being in love.
Yeah.
And so all that happened, and he got back, and I will say that the transition between having with people in the military is that when they deploy and they come back, it's not an easy transition back. It's you just lived a year without somebody, and you've kind of gotten into your routine, and then someone just comes back right in and messes that routine up, and plus I had a new baby, we had a new house, a lot of overwhelming things.
Casey Swann, I've heard this a lot from people that are married to people that are in the military, and you're right. You've developed your own patterns, your own ideas, your own ways of doing things, without them.
Yeah.
And they've been out on their own as well, essentially living bachelors, married bachelors, and bachelorette. And when they come back, you have to get used to them all over again. Now, you spent 7 years with him. Was he always in the military? Mm-hmm. So it's always been on and off, and he's gone and he's back?
This is actually his first real deployment.
Okay.
He's in the National Guard, so he was supposed to deploy, but they would cancel it, and so this was the actual first deployment that they didn't cancel, and so he actually left. So in the 10 years that we've been together, he'd only been deployed once.
Yeah.
So, and it was a scary thing, because I was like, I don't know how deployment's going to be. I don't know how to act around deployment. That's a long time to be around, be separated from somebody.
Sure.
So, but it was almost like it gave me a strength to be like, all right, I'm just going to hold on. And, and I was happy, and, just living the life that I thought I wanted, being a mom, and I worked until I couldn't work. And then, because my my son decided to be really huge and messed my hips up, so I couldn't barely walk.
Oh, okay.
But it was a really good pregnancy. I mean, he is a very loving baby, and I'm so glad. God put him in my life for a reason. I was supposed to have him, and but like after he got back, I just I was going through, I guess what I thought was like postpartum depression.
Sure.
I was just really emotional. I just cried. I was lashing out all the time, and I felt like I was losing control.
Right.
I mean, I just had a baby, and I just had, and I have a 7-year-old or a 6-year-old at the time, or 5-year-old. No, she was 5. And I'm having to just readjust to, and my husband being home, and just a different life. And and I thought, I asked help from other people, for other moms, because I was in like this mom group, and I was like, hey, I have all these emotions and these feelings, I don't know what to do with them.
Sure.
And so I got plenty of advice from people, and and I went to my doctor and I got help, and so that's when I started on some medicine for postpartum depression.
Okay.
And I think everything went fine for a little while, but us getting, let me just say that when me and my husband are like oil and water, we want to force it to work, and we want it to make it work because, we have a family and we have kids, and, we know that there's something there. We know that there's a relationship there. But sometimes people are just not meant to be together. Like,
sure.
And you can be throwing signs for 10 years like us and ignore them and just be like, no, we're going to try. Or, one of us would try harder than the other. And that's how unconventional, like, our relationship was. We hurt each other a lot, but we always let it go. Like, we were like, and our friends and family thought we were just one crazy couple. And it was almost like I was trying to convince the world that just by getting married that we were all of a sudden going to be better. And we were for a year because he was gone for a year. But as soon as he came, it started over again. And, we both have our faults. He's struggling with his own demons, and I had struggled with my own. And we just didn't work. And I promised him that I was not going to ever say anything bad, and because out of respect.
Sure.
And so we were where all this positivity came from. It's basically going through 10 years of a toxic relationship, and then we went through training. We went through this 1-year marriage counseling thing, and I was seeing a therapist. I was talking to people. I was searching for help everywhere I could. I knew that I needed help, and I had just put my pride aside, and I said I need help and I need to talk to people. And honestly, what you do is you talk to people.
Yes.
It is honestly the best. It helps me whenever I just speak to people and listen to their stories, because you don't realize how many people, go through the same things or just parts of the things that you go through, and can kind of empathize and be like, oh, I know, or give you advice on that stuff. And no advice is bad. Just you can decide whether you live it or not. I lost a lot of friends because, when I was going through things like that, or going through a marriage where my friends were like, you need to get out, and his friends were saying you need to get out. We were all we knew we needed to do something, and then the friends knew, but we just could never take that step. No one will ever understand other than you and that person. And so I lost a lot of friends because, you can give me your advice all day, but that doesn't mean I'm going to take it.
Right.
This is my life, and I'm going to have to live with those choices. And I just got sick of taking people's advice and living by their rules. And I just said I want mine now. Because that's kind of, my husband is he's just a how do I explain this? Without saying.
No, I've had a lot of people on this podcast that have talked through their stories, talked through their lives, And in the middle of it, they'll say, wow, I haven't thought about that in years. And you made me think about that, and I'm starting to tear up.
Oh, nice.
And things like that. But when you have a conversation, when you get to talk through things, it's cathartic. It really helps you in your situation. And hopefully it does, Casey Swann. And your story is going to be told to other people, and hopefully they get some insight into their situation. Now, yes, talking about your ex can be devastating, especially if you have children. As my mother talked about my father in the worst possible way.
Yeah.
Okay, and he left when I was I don't even know. Was she 6 months pregnant, or was I 6 months old? That's when he left, and she had no good things to say about him my whole life. So it's good that you're keeping a positive outlook. Now, we're kind of going backwards, Casey Swann. We're talking about the end of a relationship. Let's talk about the beginning of the relationship. When things were hopeful. When did you meet this person, this man? And fall in love with him, and everything was happy and good times. Let's start there.
Well, that's an interesting one. So I had just gotten out of a relationship 6 months prior.
Okay.
And I was 21, and I was drinking and partying and just doing what a normal 21-year-old does.
21-year-old sounds good.
I met him at a bar on New Year's Eve, and and it was just, I don't know, something about him was just like he was the one. And we spoke. He tried to buy me a drink, and then it was like the following week we ended up seeing each other, and we just. It was almost like we were drawn to each other, and then we never separated. Like
New Year's Eve, what year?
2010.
2010.
Yeah.
Okay. This is an interesting situation. It's New Year's Eve. Okay. You're alone. He's alone. You're both searching.
Yeah.
Probably. You go to this bar, which is where people meet a lot of times.
We're at the Electric Cowboy of all places.
Electric Cowboy, big bar in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yeah.
And you go there, and there's a lot of people, and they're all coupled up, and you see one man, and he's kind of cute, pretty handsome, right?
Yeah.
And he says, "Wow, she's kind of cute, pretty, beautiful," and you get together, and it's New Year's Eve. There's that electricity in the air. This is what I'm reading into it, and you get together, and you get that, hey, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You get that kiss.
Yep.
And then, is that the way to start the situation, to start the relationship?
I mean, basically, yeah.
Yeah. But then you come apart, and when do you meet up again?
A week later.
A week later.
A week later.
For what? What was the meeting?
We were at the same bar again.
Back. Hey, let's meet up at the Cowboy.
No, we just so happened to both be there.
You happened to be there.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, it's been a week. Where you been?
Yeah. The funny thing is I didn't remember what he looked like.
Okay.
And so, and this is it was like 4 o'clock, or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I get a text message from him saying, hey, what are you doing? And I said, I'm at the Cowboy. And he was like, so am I. Just meet me at the, bathrooms. I was like, okay.
So he did have your number the whole week, right?
Yes. He had my number. He knew what I looked like.
Yeah.
I just never asked what he looked like. And I was like, all I knew is that I wouldn't have given my number to somebody that I wouldn't have been interested in.
Okay. So you had a connection of some kind.
So I was like, and we'd been chatting and all. So,
but you did have contact in that week?
throughout the week, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because what it sounded like at first was
no.
that you met him on New Year's Eve, and then you happened to be at the same bar a week later. I didn't know there was conversation.
Yeah, there was conversation.
Oh, good. Okay, so you stayed in touch.
Yeah, we never made plans to hang out or anything. We just so happened to be there.
Sure.
And because we had our own friends and stuff, and so I finally.
And he's in the military at this time?
He's going into the military.
And what kind of work are you doing?
What was I doing then?
2010.
I worked for Baptist. I was in labor and delivery.
Oh, what kind of, in what way? Nurse?
I was a nurse assistant.
Nurse assistant. Yeah. I was a paramedic for many years. Awesome. At Baptist in Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
So,
that's cool. So we just go there, and I go to the bathroom. I'm like, make sure I look okay, because it's like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And you're like, oh, I don't want to look like a mess.
Sure.
Well, then I go out, and I'm like, don't know who I'm looking for.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of people because it's starting to be late, and then I see this guy that's just standing there, and I'm like, okay, he's very attractive, and I think that's him.
Okay.
So I just by chance walked up to him, and it just so happened to be him, and I was like, yay.
All right. So, well, at least you figured out there's this attraction twice.
Yes.
Okay. The week before, and you developed this attraction again a week later, not knowing exactly who you're looking for, but you're like, I'm attracted to that person. All right, Casey Swann. At least we got some kind of chemistry in the beginning of the relationship.
No,
and this is good.
He's a very attractive person. He's very charming.
Yes.
Yes. And he's an intelligent person, and he knows how to carry himself really well. Mm-hmm. And so, I was by then, I was still insecure, and I was searching for love, and I didn't love myself yet at that moment.
Sure.
I didn't love myself till now, till 30 years old. I didn't realize that I actually had to love myself first.
Right.
So, how do I explain this? So I go to church, and my church explained is that we were two hurt people at the very beginning.
Yes.
Because he had just got out of a marriage, too. Like, he was still married at that time. And his ex-wife had, left to go to Denmark, the country, Europe. That's
a horrid marriage.
Yeah.
You made me leave the country.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we had that connection with each other, but we, it's like two poles, obviously, and he's a really big person, and I'm not that big a person, and so when you
big meaning big personality or big in stature.
Just in personality, stature, everything.
Okay.
I am very quiet and small, and whereas my husband's very big, tall, and he's got a strong personality.
Sure.
So when you put two people that are leaning against each other, those two different people leaning up against each other for support, eventually one is going to fall. That is one thing I took, is that one person is going to be the one that has to carry the other person, and that so happened to be me. So I just hit the microphone.
No problem. You're allowed to take your purse off and put your phone down if you like, if you want to get more comfortable. Oh, okay. As long as you're comfy.
Yeah. And so we were just two people just wanting to feel loved by somebody, and then it just so happened that we ended up staying together for 10 years, and there were great times, there were bad times, like every other marriage and relationship, and we just never gave up on each other, and we almost said if we can survive this, we can survive this, and so the cycle just happened, and just we just kept on going through the same cycles of this is just another hard thing that we're going through.
So what kind of things did you like doing together? What's your common interests, where you say, did you like going to church together, movies, sports? What's your common?
We watched movies.
Okay, what kind of movies did you like?
Honestly, whatever my husband would pick. I don't know.
So he is the big personality.
He is the big personality.
You allowed him to be that.
Yes, I was kind of infatuated with him.
Sure.
I guess you would say. And then he would do things that would drive me crazy, and and I'd be like, we always knew that there was something missing. When I say that two opposites attract, we were completely two opposites of each other.
Well, sometimes that's right, yeah.
And in the beginning and in your 20s, the opposites, it works.
Sure.
And, because you learn from each other. You don't realize that you're around this person because they're in your life to teach you something.
Yes.
But when you're in your 20s, you just think you're in love, and you're going and and hurting each other and then forgiving each other because that's what you're told to do. You're told to forgive and work through things. We both came from our parents were divorced or just not together, and so
both your parents have been divorced.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if he did or not, but I know I thought, like, if I'm going to get married, like, I want to make it work. Like, I'm not going to give up. And then I went through this 7 years of relationship where I was like, I didn't give up. I was trying to, and he didn't give up either. And so I was like, we can make this marriage work.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the norm. Most people want to get married and stay together forever.
Yeah.
And make a life with that one person,
I guess that's
for the most part. If you're in a monogamous relationship, I know there's polygamy throughout the world and such, and perhaps somebody of that place or situation can relate in some other way, but this is primarily a monogamous world that we're living in right here, at least in the United States, in the state of Arkansas. But you're trying to make it work with that one person. So it was good in the beginning that you were learning how to be a bigger person from him, and he was learning how to, pull back from you. So you were learning from each other, maybe.
Maybe.
What did you do together? Okay, movies. Whatever he picked. What did he pick?
I don't remember what he picked. I just know that he usually was really good at picking movies.
Okay.
And
what's the best movie? The first movie you watched together, or your favorite time when you were hanging out together?
Favorite time. My favorite time hanging out together was just when we were out in the middle of the woods and just not caring about what was going on. Like, when there's these yurts that are in Arkansas that are in the middle of the mountains.
Tell me about the yurts. And what's a yurt?
A yurt is like a fancy tent.
Okay.
It's like better than a hotel room.
Sure.
It's just outside in this big tent thing.
No Wi-Fi?
Yeah, you can have Wi-Fi.
What? In a yurt?
I think you have to pay for it or something. I think you have to pay extra for Wi-Fi.
But do you get away from it all?
Yeah. It's one of those, like, there's no TV. I mean, unless you want to watch movies.
Sure.
But you're out in the, nature doing nothing. Like, you're just enjoying being out there.
Yeah.
That is my favorite. That is where I thrive.
Sure. It's good to break away sometimes. Let go of everything. So did you let go of all your electronics and just go?
I mean, we had our phones, obviously.
Okay,
but
obviously.
My kid, well, we have our kid.
It is 2010 and beyond, of course we have our phones.
But other than that, like, we just enjoyed nature, and we just enjoyed being out and not having anything to do.
Yeah.
And so you were able to just kind of let your mind rest and just, take a moment to just be part of nature.
What kind of activities did you do out there, Casey Swann?
Hot tub, walking on the trails. I think we went to a couple places down there. I'm not sure.
Where are they located? Do you know?
I forgot. I have no idea.
Forgot where they're at. Somewhere in South Arkansas, maybe?
Maybe South. Yeah, somewhere. Like, I don't remember the name.
Okay.
I'm horrible at names.
No, that's all right. That's all right. I'm
and-
just trying to figure out if some people want to get in a yurt and get away from it all.
No, just look up yurt retreats. Like,
Yurt retreats.
Royal Retreat, I think. So just look for yurts. There's plenty of them here. They're popping up everywhere now.
Yeah, it sounds like fun, just getting out in the woods. Hey, and this is something that it's odd to people that don't like nature to hear about people that do like nature. Like, really? You're going to pack your stuff up? You're going to leave your nice home and you're going to go out in the woods?
It's not. No, okay. For the people that don't like nature, you will like a yurt, because a yurt is basically a hotel room. Like, you have a washer, dryer, shower, everything.
Oh.
But it's in this, like, tent-like thing.
Yes.
So you still have the feel of being outside, but you have the inside feels like you're just in some regular hotel, just with a lot more space in a hotel room.
Oh, I could live in a yurt.
You could.
Okay.
You could.
All right.
Like, I would almost prefer to live in a yurt. Just.
All right.
Yeah.
And a yurt's available, if you're listening, Casey Swann, look her up. Okay. So, all right, moving forward. You get out of the yurt. That was your favorite time? Was that a year or two into the relationship? Or when did you start going out into the woods? And by this time, you're not married.
Yeah, we were just in a relationship. I think this was when my daughter was like 3 or 4.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So when did you move in together, if you don't mind?
From the very beginning.
Okay, so straight away. Now, why? Is this something, were you living at home still, or was he
I
living at home?
was living with my mother because I had just got out of a relationship.
Sure.
That I had, and I don't even want to talk about that one.
Sure.
And he was just couching it on his buddy's couch.
Okay.
Because he is from Georgia. And he was just here visiting his sister at the time. And so, like, we met, and he didn't have a place, really. Because some things went down at the friend's house. And so then, this was, like, I think a couple weeks after, like, us dating and stuff, that I ended up just bringing him to my mom's house. And he ended up living in my room for a little while until he left for the basic training.
How did Mom feel about that?
Oh, she was mad.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, my mom's mad.
So you pretty much just forced that on her.
Yeah.
Huh? Okay. So were you brought up with traditional values, I guess?
Yeah, and I've always been the one to push a little, you know. Of course, I have my core values, but then there's things I was just like, especially love. You're like, I'm going to push this a little bit because, you know, I love this guy. Or
sure. Primarily raised by Mom?
By both, actually. Yeah.
So, okay. Even though it was divorced, when was the divorce with your mom and dad?
So my parents had the most weird. So they were divorced when I was 10, but they still were very active in my life. Like, they were together basically the whole time, I felt like. But even though they weren't married, my dad was in my life as much as my mom was, and so
in the same house.
In the same house, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like
I've heard of this. It's not unheard of. It's rare, but it's not unheard of.
So they did that just to make sure that, you know, until I was able to, you know, when I turned 16, that's when they actually got their own places and all that stuff, because I was able to take care of me and my brother, and so they didn't feel like they had to both be there, but they were always there for us.
Sure.
And it might not be the most conventional way, and I saw myself actually doing that with my husband, where like we were dating, and then we would have times where we were not dating.
Yeah.
So we were roommates for a little while with a kid, but we lived together. So like I was repeating what my parents were doing, and I was like,
so from a young age, from 10 years old, was Mom and Dad dating other people?
I'm pretty sure.
Bringing them home too?
No.
Okay.
No.
That would be a little more odd.
No. But it was apparent. Like I knew. I was a kid, and I just didn't care, or it just wasn't something I thought of.
Always lived in the Little Rock area?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Mount St. Mary's.
Mount St. Mary's?
Yeah, all girls Catholic school.
All girls Catholic school. How's that situation?
Fun.
Yeah, I'm sure you had a brother school that you did dances with. You know, I think that happens, right?
Yeah.
But Mount St. Mary sounds like a very, very Catholic school. I went to Catholic school till 6th grade, and I remember it was nuns and priests and going to mass. Is that what it is?
I mean, we didn't have the nuns. I mean, the nuns and all. I mean, we did have the priests, but the teachers were just regular people, regular teachers. And but yeah, I went to private school from I think 3rd grade to high school. So that was just
all girls school the whole time?
No. Just high school.
Yeah.
I didn't care for Mount just because I just didn't fit in. I didn't feel like I fit in. I was just different, and I've always been different.
Uniforms?
Yes.
Didn't like the uniforms?
The uniforms didn't. I didn't care.
What was the bad part?
The bad part is like I didn't really know where I fit in.
How so?
Because even as a kid, I always felt different.
Why? You seem like a normal person.
Well, I know I seem like a normal person.
You look normal?
Yeah. My mind is not normal.
Okay.
Or I just, you know, and I am learning more about me now than I've ever. And so I can actually say, like, I wasn't normal because I'm not normal.
How so?
Yeah,
how do you clash with other people?
I don't clash with people. I just, I felt out of place. Like, when you know I can be around people and I can speak to them, you know, and blend in. Because that is what I did. I blended in because I didn't feel like I was or I didn't feel normal, so I just blended in with whoever I was with.
Yeah.
So I spent literally 30 years pretending or wearing this mask because I was wearing a mask that I thought everyone wanted to see. Because I was too ashamed to be the real me. Because I thought the real me wasn't someone that... I was just too scared that people wouldn't accept me for me. And so, in high school, I found my crowd or my people, because we all have I gravitated towards people that just have a story.
Yes.
And so, it was just those people that I hung around with, and I didn't hang around with the normal Mount people or Catholic people, like the boys, the brother school, and
right.
I kind of just went everywhere and met people, and then it just went from there in high school.
So what would you classify your crew in high school as? Or were you the populars, the nerds, the science people, the band geeks?
I didn't classify myself as anything.
The out-of-the-box people.
Yes. So that is one thing that I've learned.
Nonconformist.
One thing I've learned about myself is I thrive out of the box.
Okay.
I do not do very well in a box.
All right.
And so, when you give me the ability to think outside of the box, I can go as far as you let me.
Yeah.
And that is how I've always been, but I was always ashamed of it because not a lot of people thrive outside the box. People will think you're insane. People will think, I don't know what she's been drinking or taking or, whatever. But, if you don't expand your mind and learn, you're always going to be stuck in this little box of just doing the day-to-day things, and life just passing you by.
Sure.
And that's how I feel right now, is that now that I'm not tied down to, a marriage that was literally killing my soul, basically.
Yeah.
Because when you're around, I'm going to just go back to my marriage part. And
please.
When you're around a toxic person, and it does not mean that person is a bad person. It doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Right.
But
just toxic for you.
Yeah, toxic for me and toxic for him.
Right.
And when two people that are in a toxic relationship don't know how to get out, it causes that toxicity to overflow to your family, your friends, and just everywhere. So by 10 years, that had spread quite far. And so finally it happened where one day, it was this month, and and I'd been doing a lot of work on myself. I started therapy over a year ago.
Right.
Because I knew I needed help. I knew over a year ago that I needed help because my depression had gotten worse. I left a job because I could barely function. And I was.
What job were you doing at this time?
I worked for a pediatrician.
So still in the health field, medical field.
And I loved it. I loved the job and all that stuff. But my mental state was just so. I cried every day. It took everything for me to just stay strong at work, do my job, and then go home and just bawl my eyes out because there was something going on that and I just didn't know. But I'd been so used to the stress of my relationship because this has been going on for so long that it just became a natural thing, and I couldn't handle work anymore. I couldn't handle. I could barely go to work, and that's when I was in my head thinking that everyone was judging me and everyone was, I was overthinking things and assuming a lot of things, and I just caused myself to just fall apart. So that's when my husband got promoted. So he allowed me to be a stay-at-home mom because I was, and I was grateful. I was like, you're allowing me to stay home with my kids because I was missing my son. Me and my son have this bond, and every time I was at work, I just wanted to be home with him, and I was just like, man, I don't want to miss this part of his stage of growing up. And what do I call this? I don't know why talking about my son made me cry.
Okay. No. Like I said in the beginning, sometimes it happens. You start thinking about things that you hadn't been thinking about and talking through them. And you say you've been in therapy for a year. What was the turning point? What made you say, whew, that's it. I got to go talk to somebody about this. And has it helped?
Because I went to my doctor and he forced me to talk to a counselor.
Okay.
Because he said, I think you need it.
And has it helped over the last
year?
Yes.
Honestly, I think everyone should go to therapy, no matter if you don't,
Sure.
no matter if you don't have, if you're okay and you just have little problems here and there, like when you go to therapy, it's honestly helping yourself understand who you are, because you can't do it on your own. Like, yes, you can educate yourself and you can, but when you have an outside party telling you, hey, you know, like my therapist lets me talk, and you know, she doesn't tell me where to go, she just lets me talk, and then in the end she's like, okay, I think this is where we are here and in there, but she just lets me work through the process. And so, you know, with talking to her and then doing the work that I do at home, I read a lot. You know, I'm writing a book. Like you know,
what kind of things do you like to read?
Motivational, you know, and then religious, and just anything that helps me and my soul. Like anything that feeds me information are the books that I read, like, and documentaries. And I've learned to just stop reading just things that don't help me grow.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of in that point where I even speak to people, like, if you're not, I pick people that I know I can learn from.
Sure.
To have a conversation with. And that's just how I've been living my life. And it's opened so many doors for me that I don't know, like, which door to even go to. I'm like, which one do I go to first?
Right.
Because I finally see life as a possibility. Like, I don't see it as, oh, I'm stuck and I'm depressed and I'm in this marriage, unhappy marriage, and you know, I had such a negative vibe around me because I was so sad and so just lost, and you know, I was screaming for help. You know, I went to church, I was praying, I was
still Catholic?
No.
Okay.
Non-denominational
church. You want to give a shout out to the church?
New Life, yeah.
New Life Church,
New
okay.
Life Church,
I've heard good things about that place.
They are an amazing church. Like, they were the church to make me feel like home. Like,
okay.
And I've stayed with them since college. So, they built one near my where I live, and it was like the best thing ever. Like, they're like a small family there, I felt, and I've gotten to know a lot of people, and they helped me a lot. Like, they helped me learn and basically grow my relationship with God. You know, because I feel like there's different aspects of a person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's the physical, there's the emotional, and then there's the spiritual. All three of those have to be in sync, or your life is going to be, you're going to be unhappy somewhere. You're always going to feel like there's something wrong. Because people these days, we live in a go, go, go society where, you know, you got to go and you got to do this and you got to, nobody enjoys life anymore, I feel like. And then when you do enjoy life, people almost judge you for it. But I had to fix myself mentally and spiritually, because physically I was falling apart. You know, I was having health problems, having to take medicine, having to, you know, and once you're in your 20s and you're having to take a bunch of pills, it's like, well, you know.
And were you healthy your whole life before that?
Yes.
So, yeah, that's a little off-putting.
So in the last 2 years, I was just like, you know, I go from being completely healthy to no pills to almost having like 3 or 4 pills to take a day. And I'm like, shouldn't I be doing this when I'm like 50 or 60, not 20? Not,
yeah, what do you think caused you to have the pills?
It's the depression, because when I said I was depressed, and then I started getting anxiety and panic attacks and, you know, just mood swings, and I was like, I don't know where all this is coming from. Like, right. And then even in like the, I guess, last 2 weeks, I started having like really bad panic attacks. Mm-hmm. And that's where I say, like, the people that are in a toxic relationship, I know it's hard to get out of, but when that toxic relationship and that just negative environment that you're in, that you created yourself too, like, you stayed in this, like, me and him projected this to all of our friends and family, so everyone was always just looking at us like, y'all are crazy for staying, but, you know, we've tried to help you get out, and we're just at that point where, like, we don't know what to do anymore. And it's true, is because we have to see it. Like, people can give you advice and tell you how to live your life and all that, but until you can see it, you're never going to change. You're never going to go, and you're going to continue on this roller coaster. I basically told my husband that it was like a broken record.
Yeah.
We were playing this broken record over and over again, thinking that it was going to be a different record, and we did that for 10 years.
Yeah.
And and then in the last month, and when I say physically, I felt like I was dying inside. I felt like I was dying from the inside out. I was getting help everywhere I could, but it just felt like no matter how much help I got from people, I was still just drowning. And I'm a very strong person.
Sure.
Because I've had to be strong in times where that's the only choice I had. And so I of course have days where I was better, and I was like, oh, I'm good, I can do this. I worked out a lot. I was like, I'm think positive, but there's still that, when you're not healed, it's still going to hold that weight on you. And I don't know what happened, but all I know is that like one day we were together, we were finishing our marriage. I had found out some medical news about me where I went from having a cancer scare to all of a sudden.
Positive or negative? Are you okay?
I'm okay now. I had to go through surgery and get all that removed and all that stuff.
So you did have cancer?
I had kind of like the very beginning stages of it.
Yeah, and it got removed.
Yes, and so hopefully that stays that way.
Where was the cancer?
My cervix.
Cervix.
I have cervical cancer, yeah. Or, it would have been there, had they not removed it, and had my body just kept deteriorating, basically, because I kept moving stages really fast. And so I was just like, what's going on? Because every time I had another biopsy, they were like, well, it's gotten a little worse. And I was like, it was like 2 weeks, like a month ago.
Right. No, that's scary.
Yeah, and so I had that, and I was freaking out, and I was having panic attacks over that, because I was just like, okay, now my health is, I'm only 30 years old, and my health is, not doing very well, and I was depressed. So the last 2 months of my marriage, I was depressed. I barely got out of bed.
Well, up till now, I've been led to believe that the marriage was the big weight on your shoulder, the marriage, but the cancer added another few pounds on your shoulders, right?
So marriage, depression, cancer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that would do it.
And kids. Like, kids are stressful. Oh
kids are great, but they're little homeless people that want money and food all the time,
yes.
But you're saying that people from the outside could see that your relationship was deteriorating, and they were giving you advice, and you didn't take it. When did they start giving you advice about, hey, I don't know if this guy's good for you, or you guys are good together? When did that happen?
From the very beginning.
2010.
Yeah, from the very beginning.
They're going, nah, don't go with that guy. Who was the first one to say it?
One of my best friends that I was with at the time. I think because I was hanging out with girls, Miranda and Caitlin, and they were like, no, like, just don't. And even my mom was like, no. But I was in love, and I had blinders on. And
what it is, in your 20s, you know everything.
Oh yeah.
And you're gonna make mistakes, and in your 20s, you're Wolverine. You got healing powers, so you could fall down, get back up.
Yeah, and I thought I could heal this man, because I was like, oh, he's hurt, and I can be that shining armor.
He had a broken wing. That's right. Oh, he got out of his marriage.
But I think it was me just being broken and trying to fix somebody else. Like, and that's what I do as a person is, I am a healer. Like,
yes.
Yeah, and in all aspects, I guess, in a natural way. Like, I know my purpose is to help heal people, to help people. And
well, you've been in the medical field. That's how that manifested.
Yes, and that's one aspect, but that's not where I am meant to be. Like, I just I went through this situation because I was supposed to. Just like I said, like, it's a learning experience. And so now that I can look at my past and just see how things played out, it's just kind of like, yes, some things played out a little longer than they should have, but it happened for a reason. Like for me, I think there's a rare occurrence that there's a coincidence. Like, it's rare for a coincidence to really happen, because especially nowadays, when I look at life, you meet people for a reason. They're either to teach you something, or they're just there to add something to your life. And so, like, all the people that I've been...
Wow, you said that and a bell rang. That was great. That was a good point, Casey Swann. I like that.
So every hour, this is, because I had to find ways to believe in myself again.
Okay.
So every hour I get a thing that says, I love and accept myself for the way I am.
Is it the same message every time?
Every time.
Come on.
Every time, every hour, it sends me that message to my phone.
Casey Swann, motivation.
Oh, I mean, I have to have the motivation. Like, I listen to Christian music all day long.
Okay.
I just try to be around happy people. Like, I've been meeting so many people, and it's crazy to meet people that are just like you. Like, I found 2 people that are literally me in another body.
All right.
And it's incredible to be around those people, because you can just let go and be you.
Yes.
And you don't have to feel like you have to be anybody else. I mean, just be open. They don't judge. They don't, they're just there. And so I started, and that's when all the positivity, I went to the gym, and, I was like, I'm no longer going to be depressed. I was in bed for 2 months. I barely got out of bed other than to, take care of my kids.
Okay, you went to the gym. What kind of things do you do at the gym?
Well, I was at Orange Theory. So Orange Theory is great. Like, if they're...
What's Orange Theory?
Orange Theory is like a HIIT group workout where they have treadmills, they have row machines, and they have weights. And it's in an hour, they have a coach that just tells you basically what to do. And it's a different workout every day.
Oh, all right.
But you do it within, a group. But even though you're in a group, you feel like you're alone, because you're doing this yourself. I mean, you're having to push yourself. And it was a great atmosphere for me to start my fitness journey back, because I just had a baby, and they're the ones who helped me get to where I am now, because I needed someone to push me. Like, I didn't have the motivation to push myself.
Right.
So I needed that, and that was, it was amazing. And so if there's anybody that just needs a push, they're a great place to go. Now I go to the gym at 10 Fitness on Rodney Parham, and I do everything on my own. Like, I prefer to be by myself, and I prefer to just go in there and have me time.
Do you develop a routine, or,
I have a
or do
routine.
you go in?
I have a routine. I'm in
on
there.
paper?
No.
I guess nobody uses paper. On your phone, maybe? Or?
I just use Pinterest, honestly.
Yeah.
I think I do have a, what do you call it? A calendar that I put, do legs today, do chest today, do back today. I do have that, but I don't have the workouts or anything. But I do my, so 10 Fitness is a cardio room.
Sure.
That has a theater in there. So you get to watch movies in the dark while you're doing cardio.
Dig it.
Yeah, no, I as soon as I saw that, I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be.
That's right. You get that movie as a distraction while you're doing something good for your body.
Well, I'm also watching a movie, walking on the treadmill, and that's where I talk to people on social media. That's where I respond. Honestly, that's where I write most of my posts, because my mind is clear, I feel like. So I can write, and honestly, that basically is where I write all of my stuff, is either on the treadmill or when I'm walking on a bridge.
On a bridge?
On a bridge, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I randomly do that now, because...
That was very random that you said, I'll walk on a bridge. Okay.
Okay, so walking... Okay. I found that bridges were the river. There's 2 bridges that I walk on. It's the Junction Bridge or the Big Dam Bridge. And they
both have water underneath them.
Oh, yeah. They have the river flowing through them.
Yes.
But it's the power of the river. And I put my headphones in. I'm still listening to Christian music and just uplifting music. And that's where I do all of my writing. That's where inspiration comes. And that's where it's I allow just my body or my mind to just write. And so I handwrite it all, because I'm very old-fashioned, and I have to handwrite everything first, and then I'll put it on social media or, whatnot. But it's been an insane gift that I didn't know I had.
Sure.
I knew I just loved to write sometimes, but I didn't know how to give for it.
So you didn't write in high school?
No.
Not the greatest English student?
Not at all. Not at all. I I just cared to pass school, and that's it. Like,
Yes.
I was like, just let me go. Like, let me just pass this class and get over with.
Yeah, let me get out of school. Okay, got it.
And so
But now you've had these life experiences.
I have.
And you're able to put them down on paper.
Exactly.
And maybe you'll help somebody else with them.
And I have been helping people. Like, my Facebook, my social media is just blew up for some reason. And
Yes.
I can barely, like, and I want to respond to people because, I mean,
Yes.
honestly, I've had an overflow of people messaging me just thanking me for the things that I've been saying, just asking me for advice or just to talk. And, and I enjoy talking to random people. It's learning about different people and what they're going through. And, most of the time they went through what I'm going through right now. So they kind of help me with, knowing that divorce is hard and that it's going to be a hard road. But you're going to get there, and I'm on that positive, path already anyway. So,
Yes.
I mean, I know that things are going to work out. And so, like, the past 2 weeks has just been the most, like, I don't know, growth I've ever experienced. Like, if you can ever just evolve into somebody else, like, that's what I did. I am no longer that, shy, quiet. Like, I always had to be that fly on the wall because, like, when I said I didn't feel normal, I was always that watcher. Like, I watched my surroundings and I learned from my surroundings, but I never wanted to be the spotlight. And now that I have this gift of writing and this gift of talking and whatnot and just experiences, because I've experienced those feelings, I can talk, and I have a way of just, honestly, I feel like it's God's gift to me because He's allowing me to share my experiences with other people and let people know that we all go through the same things. We all go through pain, and we all experience pain in different ways. Like, my book is called, the one that I'm writing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's called Nobody Understands Me, Picture Perfect from the Outside. Because when you look at me from the outside, we all have filters. We all have, camera, Facebook.
Sure.
We can all make each ourselves be pretty on the outside. We have makeup. We have, all that. Our appearance is important because that society has made our appearance an important thing. But with our appearance being the important thing, our inner selves have lacked, have lost, because we're becoming more of a narcissistic world. Like, it's all about me. And, and I know that I can use that part of me, but also share the inside of me. So that's what my book is about, is I may look, pretty, I may look like I have my stuff together, but on the inside, I've struggled more than most people should, because I am one of those people that experiences life and learns the hard way.
Yes.
You give me two choices, I'm going to pick the hardest choice every single time. And
Not good, Casey Swann. Sometimes you got to take the easy way.
but it's not bad also. I mean, yes, it's going to take a little longer to get where you're supposed to go.
Sure.
But it's, you're still going to get there. I just have to learn things by living them rather than being someone telling me, hey, this is probably not a good idea.
Right. Well, I learn from the mistakes of others. You can't live long enough to make them all yourself.
Yeah.
I think that was Abraham Lincoln, if I'm not mistaken.
No kidding.
Somebody's going to say that was wrong.
Hey, we're just talking, honestly. But it's a liberating feeling now that I can look back at my past and just know that I learned this then, or like I learned this person was in my life for that reason, or, and so I'm wanting to write a book on like how to help people get through it, like, and what I did. I mean, and like the first part of my book, honestly, is I want people to know, like, so my first, I don't even know how many pages this is going to be.
Yeah, how far have you gotten into it?
I don't know. It's on like so many different pieces of papers, but I have to put it all together. I have
Sure.
the outline of the book and I have the title of the book. I just have random things that I need to just organize and put together.
Yeah.
But I lost my train of thought there.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. It's just the book is about getting help by explaining like what my situation was and then how I got out of it. And then the first part is a gratitude page where, because people need to know this. People need to know that when you're in a situation that I was in, it took a lot of help. It didn't take one, didn't take two, didn't even take 10. It took a lot of people to get me to where I am right now, to be happy, to finally be living life and be able to help other people.
Yes.
And so this gratitude page is, I just want to write down, I have this like green little notebook that has everybody's name and like what, why they crossed my path, what they did to help me, especially here in like the last month, so many people have helped me.
Yeah, you're saying over the last year, your growth has gone so big, and even over the last month.
Yeah.
And this is where I got to know you.
Exactly.
And this is where you added me as a friend, and I went, oh, okay, this seems like a very interesting person. And your blurb right on it says, woman of faith and motivational and mom and kids, and you seem very interesting, and you are. I'm having a good time with you, Casey Swann.
Well, good.
Yes.
But no, like I put all that on there because the law of attraction, where you're like, because I know this is where I'm going.
Yes.
It's just because I'm not there yet doesn't mean I can't say that I'm not that, because that is what I am. I'm just working my way there. And so like I want to be able to give back to those people, because if maybe one day that I go somewhere or this book takes off and it actually helps people, which I pray that it does. I want to be able to, say, hey, this person helped me in this part of my life, and this is the business that they own. And I want to it's like giving a shout out and being like, hey, I recommend this place. So, and all the friends that I have, I have so many people that open their own businesses or just trying to make a life for themselves. And because they took the time just to help me in any way that they did, I want to help them back. Like yesterday, I had a waiter just buy me lunch yesterday because I didn't have the funds to eat at a fancy restaurant. But he wanted to. He was just someone that I'd met, someone that I'd spoken to.
Well, as a pretty person, you got to think, well, maybe he thought you were pretty.
Well,
is that?
I'm
part
sure
of it?
he did.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest, yes, I'm sure he did.
Okay.
But he did it just out of the kindness of wanting to just help a person out, and
that's what you took away from it, though.
yeah, well, because we spoke and all that stuff, and he had recently gone through something very similar, and I was like, and I met so many people that have gone through similar things, or they're going through similar things, and I'm like, this is why I drove all the way out here to have lunch by myself with a random waiter, because and that's just how I meet people. Like I'm in these situations, and I honestly feel like God puts these people in my life, and I'm there to meet them for a reason. I'm either to learn something from them, or they're there to learn something from me, or we're just meant to like have a relation, or, not a relationship, but like a friendship or connection or just anything. And so that's what I've been doing. Is I'm no longer quiet. I'm no longer keeping everything in my head. I'm being me, and it's like the easiest job I could ever ask for, to just talk and be me and help others. And it doesn't even feel like I'm trying. Like I don't even know how to explain that. Like,
well, you help me. When coming across my feed, I see your smiling face, and I hear some words of wisdom, something good for the day. Oh, you say
realize?
Every hour your phone beeps and says, "Hey, you're a good person," and you have been part of that coming through my Facebook feed, and it tells me, yeah, it's pretty motivational. I like that. It's a good thought for the day.
And you know what's scary?
What is scary, Casey Swann?
Sometimes I will write these things down. Like sometimes I just get in this moment where I don't overthink anything, and I just write whatever it is that I'm writing on Facebook, and then all of a sudden, like, I'll be done, and then I will be reading what I wrote for the first time after I've read it, and I'm like, holy shit! Like, I actually wrote that. Like, that's why I'm like, I don't feel like I'm the one writing these things, because I feel it's just like it went down on paper or in my phone, and it's either like something I needed to hear or something that somebody else needed to hear. And I've just been going with that, and that's why I say it's a gift, because I didn't even know I had that gift, and I didn't even know that I was able to write that well or speak that well. Like all these new gifts and skills that I'm doing or that I have right now, I had no idea I had. And so public speaking, the old me was terrified. I mean, I would stutter. Like, I'd get nervous. I would freak out inside. Like, I was like, Steve, just no. Like, I didn't want attention. I always wanted to hide from the attention. But now I feel like I'm this light that God put down on this earth, and I'm just here to shed light on other people. Like, I literally feel like a light. And there's more lights out there. The more, as much as sometimes I don't want to, no, I'm not even going to say that. I have a strong faith. And that is one thing that has definitely helped me. Because the things that have happened in the last month or even 2 weeks have shown me that the more that you just live life, and have faith, like that you're going to be taken care of, that the universe is going to take care of you, like God's going to take care of you, life gets so much easier. Like the stress goes away, the fear goes away, the worry goes away, and you just live. And it's been liberating and free, and and I feel like it's my purpose to shine that light on others that are stuck in the same monotonous, I'm going to be depressed and live my life this way for forever. Because there are so many people that have become so complacent with who they are, because they've knocked out, like, oh, I got a house, I got a kid, I'm married, I have a career, I'm just going to, but yet they live their whole life being sad or not happy with their lives. Like, why are we living our lives unhappy? Like, yes, there's money, but there's other forms of. I've honestly lived the past 2 weeks with bare minimum money, like money-wise, and I have felt more free and more happy, and I don't have to worry. I have friends. God puts people in my life there to help me where I am right now, and so I'm just, and people may want to look at like, oh, she's mooching off of people, because I've got people, you're still going to have those people that try to attack where you are in life.
Sure.
And there's going to be people that say, hey.
What is it, the haters?
Yeah, I mean, it's the haters, and you know what? I hate the word haters, because those haters are the ones that need help the most.
That's what you're the insightful. That's very insightful, Casey Swann, because obviously there's something on them that they need some help.
Yes, because we all project what we are feeling. Like, nothing is personal. Like, I learned that too. I took everything personal. Like, but the old me took everything personal. I judged myself harsher than anybody, but then I allowed everybody's criticism and opinions to reflect how I felt as a person as well. And now that I don't, like, I love me. Like, I spent so much time by myself and just figuring out who I was, that I learned gifts about me. I learned to love me. I learned to laugh at my quirkiness. I learned to laugh that, I'm a clumsy person. And
yoga helping with that?
I hope so. I'm hoping it like strengthens my core and just doesn't let me, but I don't think so. I mean,
did you get to the standing on your head thing?
Not yet. No.
All right.
I'm working on that. That's a goal. Like, I want to be a yoga instructor. Like, that is something I actually really enjoy, because it's a strength that you don't know you have until you have it. Like, yoga, I don't know, it's like an internal strength.
When did that start? Doing yoga?
I started probably in like the 2 months that I was depressed and didn't get out of bed.
Last year then?
In the last 2 months.
Last 2 months?
Yeah. Okay. I did my first yoga class at 10 Fitness, I think, last week. like group yoga class.
But before that, yoga YouTube?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yoga on the TV.
Yeah.
And so like when I did yoga for the first time in class, I was like, I didn't know I could move that way. Like, I told her, I was like, oh, this is the first time I've ever took it. And she was like, you look like you had been taking yoga for a while now. Like, I wouldn't have ever known. And I was like, oh, well. I was like, I do want to be a yoga instructor, and I feel like I'm being pulled to be a yoga instructor, like as one of my jobs.
Sure.
Like, I should have known this about me, is I've always been that person that had more than one job.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't be in one place.
Yeah.
Like, I have to bounce and do things.
Yes.
Because that's where I thrive.
Yes.
I thrive outside the box, but I also thrive when I have multiple things to do.
If I just did one job every day, depression. Yeah, that would be me, Casey Swann.
I think that's why I like the jobs that were that way, the 9-to-5 jobs. Just it was like putting me in a box, and I didn't realize it till now. It was putting me in a box because prior to this, I worked at Baptist, but I was also a bartender for 7 years.
Dig it.
At Cosmex Con in Maumelle, and so I was still being able to help people and talk to people, and like, because being a bartender, you're listening to drunks talk about their lives.
I was at a bar last night DJing a karaoke party at the Rab.
I go to bars now, but I go by myself. I'm that like person that goes to a bar by herself. I put my headphones in. You know, if it's a bartender that I converse with, I'll just put one headphone in and talk every once in a while. But then I have my, my calendar, the thing that I write my thoughts and stuff in, and just books or music or just I don't know, anything. And I create a bubble for myself within a bar.
Right.
Like, and it's the most relaxing thing. And I was like, okay, I understand people that just come to a bar by themselves.
Yes.
They're not there to try to hit on people or just whatever. They're just there to be with themselves. And
you're observing people at the same time without even knowing it.
No, I am observing.
Or you are knowing it. Okay.
I know it.
Like, oh, look at that couple over there. Oh, look at those guys over there. And
I know that I'm observing them because they're observing me. Because I'm this sore eye, because I'm like, who is this person drinking water at a bar?
Right.
And doing whatever it is that they're doing. I mean, they're not socializing, like,
No alcohol at all?
No alcohol. Like, sometimes.
Neither am I.
Sometimes I will, but like, other than that, I create this space. Like, you can create a space wherever. And I've realized that my space is, where my mind works best is near water. So I go to the river, and I think it's because of the vibration of the river. Like, if you just become in tune with Mother Nature and just with yourself, you can feel just, I don't know, and I do it at night. Like, I think best at night when the world is quiet, and I can just blast the music that I need, and that's when the gift that I have just comes out. That's where I write my book. That's when I write my book, and that's when I work. And I'm so grateful that my husband is watching my kids at night, and I watch them during the day, because we've been able to just come up with a schedule to where we're not around each other. We have our separate lives. He's doing whatever he's doing when I have the kids, and I do me. And and I realize that I'm not using my time away from my kids as a time to go out and party and just live my best life. Like,
sure,
I'm using that time to grow into a person that I know I'm going to be. I grow into a person that my kids are going to, be proud of. And because no big business was built, or every business was built, from the ground up. And I look at myself as I'm growing from the ground up. I've been down in the dirt. I've lost everything. I felt like I had nothing. And when you get to a point where you have nothing to lose, there's only going up from there. And so this strength just had to grow in me. And every day I get stronger and stronger, because I learn things. I learn new things. I learn new experiences. And 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 there's days where like I become so happy and my cup is filled and all I want to do is share that with everybody else. And so sometimes people are like, don't share things on social media. You're being too open, too vulnerable, too whatever. And I'm like, you know what? If that bothers you, I'm sorry, but that's just me. That's me, and that's what I feel like I'm being compelled to do. So if whatever I say paints me out to be something that you don't think I want to be painted as, that's me. Like, why are you going to tell me to be somebody else? Like, why can't you just accept me for me and what I have to say, and that I want to help people, and that I'm truly just a nice person that wants...
You are a nice person, Casey Swann. I've been hanging out here for over an hour, just watching you and just listening to you. And yes, you have a heart that's open, and you want to help people. You've had experiences. You've been down in the dirt. You've had poop put all over you, but you're a flower coming up out of that dirt.
Oh, that's why I got this. I got a purple lotus flower.
Got a tattoo.
Yeah, it was actually a cover-up. I had my husband's initials on my wrist.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, like, I ended up getting God and my husband, or I put a cross on one wrist and my husband's initials on this wrist, because, when I got these... Oh, no, you're fine. I can cry. I'm not ashamed of my tears. I'd been crying all night, and I was like, man, why am I emotional?
But the initials.
The tattoo, yeah, the initials. The reason I got them, I'm a very spontaneous person.
Sure.
And I'm one of those, like, if I decide to do something, I almost run with it. And so when I was going through a hard time with me and my relationship and God, and this was, I think, 2015 maybe.
Mm-hmm. So 5 years in.
Yeah, 5 years in, I decided to get a cross and his initials to remind me that the two important men in my life are God and, who I knew was going to be my husband one day. And, or just, I tried to, I guess, tell my husband, Justin, that he was someone important. And that I had to remind myself that no matter how much we hurt each other, no matter how much we, just aren't good for each other, that I was going to stick it out. Like I knew that I was going to be there, or at least try. And I didn't realize that I was killing myself in order to be there for him, because, he's got a lot of work to do, and I hope he gets the help he gets, but I had to stop being him. I had to stop feeling like I had to help him, because it's not anybody's job to help anybody.
Sure.
It is your job solely to help you. Like, you can get help and advice and all that, but it's truly yours to fix. You have to dig deep. You have to uncover those scars. You have to uncover what you're holding on to, that baggage. Like, you have to unpack. And so many of us just hold on to that baggage because it's who we think we are. Like, that baggage is who you think you are, and you hold on to it because you're afraid to let go. Like, fear is such a big emotion that so many people hold on to. And when you finally just have faith and let go, like, touch those areas that you've buried down so far down that you don't want to relive. Because guess what? You probably need to heal from that. Or whatever experience that is just causing you to be bitter or angry or sad or depressed, look at it head on and fight it, because that is what I had to do. I had to fight the insecurity that I had. I had to figure out why I was insecure. I had to figure out why I felt unworthy. I had to figure out why I was depressed, or why I was allowing so much disrespect, because I did not respect myself. I didn't respect myself. I didn't love myself. I didn't, and I allowed the people around me to just walk all over me, because I do have a big heart. And I always thought that, God blessed me with a really big heart. And that's why my next tattoo is, it's a diamond-shaped heart.
Hey.
Where I'm learning to love people.
Yes.
But also also have to have self-control. You have to be able to love people, but also know when to love those people and know when to not let those people affect you. Because once you figure out who the right people are in your life, you can pick and choose who are going to create this new person that you are. Like, I had to let go of a lot of friends, and none of it was personal. It was just that I was not that person anymore. And I needed to be around people that were going to help me become the person I'm trying to be.
Are these the friends that you were going to parties and going to the cowboy, I guess?
Oh, no. These friends were like recent friends, and they were there that they were helping me through like my my marriage. Like, they were the friends that were like, please get out, and you deserve better. And they could tell my health was deteriorating. Like, I was a mess. And
it's good that you had them to help you through that situation.
No, I needed them. Like, I needed them, and I will always be grateful for them. And and I just had to say that I couldn't. And I know they took it personal when I said, "Hey, you helped me through this, and now I can't have you continue on my journey." But I just kept saying that I'm grateful for you. Like, I'm not asking to not be friends with you. I'm just saying that you can't be a major influence in my life right now. And it's hard for people when,
it has to be hard.
When they've invested so much time in you, and then you're like, all right, thank you for what you've done, but I need to take a step back and be me and do me. And it's hard for people to let go of that control. Because having control over somebody sometimes it manifests into something else. I don't know, but I've never...
Well, the thing that popped into my head just now, Casey Swann, did you feel like you were a project for them? Mm-hmm. And the project's done now. So
yeah, but let's
move on.
I didn't become the project that they wanted me to be.
I got you.
They wanted me to be happy, but they wanted me to be happy in their way. And so the things that I was doing did not make sense to them. And they shouldn't make sense, because you know what? I am going with the flow of life, and I'm going with wherever life takes me. And because I'm spending 3 hours at the gym to make my body stronger, because like I said, when those three, it's like a triangle: mentally, physically, and emotionally. Or not, wait, not mentally, physically, and spiritually. Yes. Oh. So mentally, I'm finally becoming whole. Like, I have more clarity now than I've ever, and as bad as it may sound, it took me and my husband completely being separated from each other, because he's just an entity that we have so much history and so much negative, memories, that my mind shuts down around him. Like,
well, it feels like you were living for him and the things that he wanted to do, and you were helping him. And I'm glad he had you for that, to help him.
I became, because as a wife, in my mind, I thought, you're that wife, you're supposed to help your husband grow, and he's really good at his job, he's the best that he can at his job, and if he just applied himself.
All you can be? Is that the Army?
The Army, I guess.
Okay.
But he's a master fitness trainer for the Army, and he is great at his job. Mm-hmm. He's great at his mortar job, because he's got 2 jobs in the Army. And then, he's great. He's a great dad when he wants to be a great dad, and not such a great husband. But we all have our gifts, right?
Right.
But he's got stuff he's got to go through, and just like I had stuff I had to go through. I was not perfect. I did some really bad things to him. Like, we played this cat and mouse game where we retaliated against each other, on who could hurt each other the worst. That is how we ended our marriage. Like, we were hurting each other.
Yeah, that's
and
volatile.
then we're like, oh, let's get married and see if it'll fix things. And we spent a whole year apart, so of course things were good, because we weren't around each other to hurt each other.
People do that. They have They get a pet. Maybe that'll help. They have a baby. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah.
These are not the right ways to help. You got to fix yourselves first.
No kidding.
Before anything else. Now, okay, you say you were helping him become the person that he wanted to be. Did you feel stagnant? Did you feel like...
I did. It felt like everything that I was doing, just like I would start something, or I think I just felt lost. I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Like everything just didn't feel like what I was supposed to or meant to do. And so like I'd start these MLM, like businesses with friends because I was like, hey, you can make some side money doing this. Like,
what is that?
Like, I did Beachbody, I did Modere, like I did this makeup company or skincare company, Rodent and Fields, like just those type of businesses where you're selling products. That just wasn't me. Like, and
where you have to get other people involved so you can make money?
Yeah.
And it just keep...
I'm not a sales...
Pyramid?
I mean...
Is that the word?
That's like the bad word for those.
Yeah.
People don't like that word. But yeah. And so I even, like, my ex-husband would say that all the time, and I'm like, no, it's not. I'd become defensive about it. Like, no, it's not what it is. You can make whatever. And,
but it is.
It is.
Bad or not, bad or good.
But that's every company.
People are making money, as long as they generate these sales.
But why are people becoming bitter about it, honestly?
Right.
Every company has a CEO. Everybody
Absolutely.
has like it's all a pyramid, no matter what company you're in.
Yeah.
Like unless you're I mean, just like you, if you start your own business, there's going to be people under you.
That's correct.
You're a pyramid, no matter what job you're in. So that's just honestly just one of those strings that people try to pull to.
Correct.
So
it just wasn't a good fit for you.
No, like none of that
those
was.
types of businesses.
And so that's when I became a stay-at-home mom, and I was taking care of the kids, and I was just, researching what it is that I was good at. So I started just doing a lot of, reading books, talking to a therapist. I was in church talking to, people in my church, and that's when I started to kind of like see things differently and be like, okay, I was changing my mind. I was changing the chemistry of my mind, basically, because the more information that you give yourself, the more things that you can kind of unlock. Like when I was depressed, I realized that my memory was going, and that's where I learned to start writing things down, because I had notebooks everywhere. I was like, I would think of something and then I'd have to write it down, because if I didn't, I knew I'd forget it, because depression has a way of like making your mind I had short-term memory loss. Like I couldn't remember names of things, or I was like basically living my life playing charades with people, like, what is this called? And I try to explain what it is, and like, my mind just wasn't connecting somewhere. And now it's clear. And
what do you think helped?
Just getting away from the negativity of my marriage and of the people that I didn't need in my life. I mean, honestly, I had to start over. I had to start completely over. I had to basically go to the gym, because I was like, I know that the gym is one thing, because I didn't work out for 2 months because I did yoga, but I did yoga, and is a very strong word.
Okay. I've never done yoga, but I've heard it's pretty tough.
No, what I'm saying is like, I did yoga, but I didn't really I wasn't like determined to do it every day. I did it just every once in a while when I felt like getting out of bed.
Okay.
That's why when I did my first yoga class, I was like, oh, I'm actually good at this, because I didn't know I was. And then, and that's when I started writing things down. And, when I started writing things down and looking at these things, I was like, it was almost like I was writing it down for me to read later, because it was something that I needed to hear. But it was something that went through my mind, but I didn't really take it all in until I read it. And I was like, okay, I should probably take my own advice, and that's where that all started happening. And so I just continued to do that, and and the depression just slowly started going away, And then, of course I still have my moments, and I was definitely still throwing some big stones, and I still had mountains to move. But it was all happening. I could start seeing it all play out. Because now I can look at life like I'm literally walking through a puzzle. Like if you can imagine yourself just walking on a floor, and the puzzle pieces are just going into the place, and you're like, okay, I think I'm on the right path now, because everything is making sense. Everything is clear. Everything is like I know I'm going in the right direction, and I'm talking to the right people, and I'm, people are coming into my life and helping me in places that if they hadn't have helped, I don't know where I would be. And it's like I tell people I feel like I'm living in a dream. Like I feel like I'm walking in a dream, because it's a life that I'm happy, and when you've been depressed, and when you've been sad, and when you've been stuck in a place for so long, you don't realize that there's something out there that you can live a life and be happy, and go places, go wherever you want to go. You are your only person that is holding you back. Like, I was holding myself back from everything because I allowed all of this right here. How do I explain? That's why I got a lotus flower. I was this seed that was underwater, and I was allowing the muddy water to weigh me down and not let me come back, not let me emerge into a flower, basically. And now that I've finally blossomed on top of the water and become this person that I am, I realize that I have so much to give people, and just more growing to do. I have no idea where I'm going to be in a year from now, but I know it's going to be a good place. And and if my business plan goes as planned, I'm going to be busy. And I have so many things that I have that are in the works right now, that when people are like, what do you do? I'm like, well, right now I read a book and I have things. But do you not realize that the people that have created these humongous businesses or empires or whatnot all came from an idea?
Sure.
And they all had to start somewhere. And I'm just having to do my due diligence, and I'm at the very beginning of it right now. And I'm working my way up. And it may not be what people think you should do. Like, we're stuck in this, you need a job, you need to make money, you need to be able to pay your bills, you need to do, but you know what? I'm having to start over with all that, and so I'm going to live my life my way. And as long as my kids are taken care of and I'm taken care of, and I'm just going to keep going on this path of where I'm supposed to be going. And that's to be a motivational speaker, to be a writer, to I have this idea of opening up a facility. It's like my 5-year plan, where I'm helping others, and and I'm going to be a strong person and show everybody. It's like almost like I want to help people evolve, help people get out of this rut, because there are so many people out there that are just not happy, and I just want to shake it out of them. Like, I wish somebody would have shook it out of me. Like,
you're reminding me of my childhood. Every time I don't feel so good, I don't want to go to school, snap out of it. Yes. Get out. Now, what makes you happiest, though? You're smiling now. You've been crying through it. I'm like, oh man, I know you're hitting feelings, but what makes you happiest now, Casey Swann?
What makes me happy?
Yeah, where's your happy spot?
Everywhere.
Now, you say water, and I'm with you on that. I'm from the Florida Keys. I know water.
Yeah.
And just looking at the water and feeling the strength of it, water can flow and crash, to paraphrase Bruce Lee. It could flow and crash, and it could fill the cup, and it's
Do you know why, like, Bruce Lee came up with that?
Oh,
Probably?
my goodness. So
it's
beautiful.
because he was in that mind frame of the world made sense. Like, I can say I'm happy because I understand. I'm starting to understand the world. And I'm starting to understand, like, I have a different perspective on life. And just when you kind of see the world as a whole, like I watched The Lion King the other day.
The new one?
Yeah, it's an awesome movie.
I haven't seen it, need to see
Gosh,
it. Yes.
like I felt like a kid again when I was watching it, and it was just more realistic. And like I try to get my kids to watch The Lion King, like the original Lion King.
Original's great, yeah.
Oh, it is great, but it does not capture kids' attentions. Like my kids had no interest in watching it, and I was like I was getting mad that they didn't want to watch it.
I think there's a lot of kids that would beg to differ.
Yeah, well, my kids were just like, it's okay. But my kids are very, like, they think differently too. Like,
yeah, what are they into?
Well, my 2-year-old is just really smart, and he listens. Like, I'm amazed at my son, honestly, because I'm just like, he's like the best child. He has a routine. He's sweet. He cleans up after himself. Like, maybe he'll pick things up if I tell him to. Like I have a kid that listens. And it's just, when, as a parent, you say you have a kid that listens, it's just the strangest thing ever. And
that's the big one. That when you were pregnant, he hurt you.
Yes, like, but he's like I'm not saying like my protector, but he is a mama's boy, and he is happy. Like, he's one of those kids or those people that smile with their eyes.
Yeah.
Like, I've always been so just captured by his smile and just his eyes, because he smiles because he's full of joy. Like, he's my little son, literally, like a ball of light. And I think that's why I became so just engulfed with him, because I literally could stare at him for hours.
Uh-huh.
Or my daughter, she is so strong, and she's so smart. And
how old?
She's 7.
Independent? Did you say she's
heading
that way?
Yeah, she's the most independent person I've ever met.
Stinks when they don't need you anymore.
Well, she does. Like,
oh, good. Yeah. Well, of course, she's 7.
She does, but she wants me on those things that she doesn't need me on.
Right.
Like, I'm like, dude, like, you're 7, you can do this. Like, I know you want to whine and not do this, but this is a part of life. You cannot skip this part of life. And that's the one thing I'm trying to teach with her is, like, she wants to, kids these days just want instant gratification.
You just got older.
Oh, I know. I feel.
Kids these days.
Said it. Do you see this? I changed my look.
Yeah.
But this is who I feel.
I like the umbrage in your hair. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's because I feel older. Like, I feel like I finally tapped into, like, my older spirit, you would say. Like, I'm an old soul, I guess I feel like.
All right.
And so I'm starting to become that person. And I'm kind of learning in that area of where I do believe a lot of things in life, and I do believe that there are old souls in this life, and there's people that God has put in this life for a reason. And so, like, I'm trying to teach my daughter that you have to go through these experiences, and I'm never going to not tell her that she can't experience something, because that would just be like me saying, hey, I had to do the hard thing, but I don't want you to do the hard thing. Like, you're going to have to learn when it's...
So what does she want to do that you're thinking maybe she shouldn't?
Man.
Put a knife in the in the outlet? No, don't do that.
It's her way of thinking. Like,
okay.
She was surrounded by the toxic environment. Let me give you that.
Right. So she felt it,
she was affected
you
by
and the
it.
hubby.
She was affected by it the most. And it broke my heart all the time. She isn't doing very well in school because we thought she was ADD, and she can sit still, and she just had to go and do something. And so I was trying to throw pills down her, tell her to take this and try and focus, and when technically she was just me. Like, now that I know who I am now, I'm like, man, you took the go part of me,
Right.
and then the intelligent, like, me and her dad are both intelligent people. It's just that her mind, she is that person that thinks outside the box. You know, I say I think outside the box. Well, she thinks outside of my box.
Uh-huh.
Like, she's
How so?
like, she'll ask me questions that I don't know how to answer. Like, and she'll ask me questions about God, and then she'll just, I don't have like specific things, but there are moments where, like, it amazes me. Like, how did you even think of that? Like,
You're 7.
how are you? Yeah, you're 7 years old, and how did you even make that thought?
Right.
Because that never crossed my mind once.
Public
and,
school? Or private?
Yes, public school. She goes to Bryant,
Yeah.
and so that's when I was like, she has a gift, and I was like, now that I'm aware of my gift, I'm aware of their gift. Like, my son has this gift. He's a natural light. Like I said, I'm a light, or I felt like God made. I'm just this light that is meant to help shine on other people.
Right.
Whereas my son is just naturally that light. Like, he is just, I don't know. He's almost like my battery. He recharges me. But the only thing I'm really gonna have to do with him is to make sure he stays humble. Like, he's gonna go places.
Yeah.
My daughter is gonna go places because when she learns from me and gets out of the I'm not good enough stage,
Right.
because she's in the I'm not smart, I'm not good. She was watching me.
You're seeing in a mirror. When your parents split up, you were 10.
Yeah.
And she's just about the same age.
Except for
unfortunate.
the difference between my parents and me is, I love my mom is a typical Filipino woman that came from the Philippines, and she's, as funny as it may sound, like, every Filipino wants their kid to be a nurse or a doctor, and
Sure.
and she just wanted me to be a certain way. Like, she just wanted the best for me, but she wanted me to be what she thought was the best. And that's where I struggled. Me and my mom struggled because, again, I was not normal. And when I say I'm not normal, I'm just saying, like, I did not fit in that category. And my mom never understood that. My daughter does not fit in that category, or into a normal category. So she is going to be, I'm going to nurture the strong, the independent, you can do whatever you want to do in life person. Like, right now, she wants to be a veterinarian comedian. Like,
why not?
She wants to take care of animals and make people laugh.
Do it.
It's like, you can do whatever you want to do. And she was like, I can be an art teacher on the side and all this stuff. And I was like, if that's what you want to do, go for it.
Nurture it.
And then I told her, I know she's 7, but I also told her, like, hey, I know that you've been aware of me and your dad's relationship. I'm not going to act like you haven't. And you know that we fought a lot, and you heard things that you shouldn't have heard, and you've seen things you shouldn't have seen. But just know that, I was like, be a strong woman. Have respect for yourself. Love you. And I keep having, and I'm going to have to do that for a really long time. I'm going to have to bring that self-love into her. And I'm going to have to drill it into her until she believes that she loves, until she loves herself. Because she is funny. Like, she is smart, and she is just her own character. And I was like, you have the ability to do whatever you want to do. Like, you have that strong personality. Like, she wants to always be doing something, always hanging out with friends, always socializing. She'll talk to random strangers. And she started seeing that from me. Like, the talking to random strangers is that I'll see someone who's just sitting by themselves, and I'll just be like, hey, good morning, or just anything. And then she started doing that.
Yeah.
And it kind of caught me off guard, and I was like, whoa. Like, I'm trying to go here, and you're over here, like, just having to stop and say hi to a person because you felt like they needed someone to say hi to them.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, I looked at her, and I was just like, you are amazing. Like,
you do realize you're going to brighten somebody's day just doing that, just saying hello, giving them a smile.
Well,
you just never know what their situation is and how much you helped.
And that's the thing, is like, we live in such a dark place, like a dark world.
Is it?
I mean, if you're not aware of the dark, then you're not aware of the good.
Yeah.
You have to be aware of both. And we live in a dark world.
Maybe I'm oblivious because I'm generally
because you stay happy.
Yeah.
You stay happy. The only reason I know that we live in a dark world is because I was in that dark world. And so I know that it's there, and I know what's out there. And because I've been open with what I've been going through, I've seen and heard more people coming out and be like, yeah, I've been there and I've experienced that. And because life is not just life. Like, people say, oh, it's just life. No, it's life is not an entity, or it is an entity, but it's, if you really think of life, it's just I don't know. You go through experiences, and some people experience it and some people don't. Like, some people go through things that most people can't even wrap their minds around. And now, and I have the ability to almost put myself in someone's shoes. Like, that is the gift that I'm talking about, is I can empathize with someone because I can literally put myself in their shoes and know what their pain is. And I've been, and that's why when I feel like God puts me on a path somewhere, it's because I'm there for that reason. Like, and that's where I found the gift of I can help people. And it's not because I can help people because I went through these things. Right. It's because I can literally put myself there because
empathy.
Well, yeah, it's empathy, but it's like I'm really taking their pain and speaking whatever it is I think that they need to hear at that moment. And I've made people cry. I've made people, like, some people are not ready to hear. Some people just look at me like, she's no idea what she's talking about. Because sometimes I do get a little out there, and depending on my environment and who I'm with, like, I know whether I can go over here or just stay over here. I have to gauge my audience and gauge who I'm talking to.
You can read people.
For sure.
Yeah.
I can read an energy real quick. I can tell when someone's giving me a bad vibe the moment that I walk up to them, or I can feel whether I'm, like a connection with somebody. I can feel that connection with somebody and know, like, you're somebody that's supposed to be in my life for a reason. And so I do that in a way where I try to figure out what it is that you're, why are you, because I ask those questions to myself. I'm like, why is this person in my life, and why did I get that feeling? And so that's how I learned. And, doing this and talking, I don't even know who I'm talking to, but
you're going worldwide, Casey Swann.
My story is meant to help somebody, or I don't even know. But all I know is that life is so much easier if you just take the time and the work to unravel what you think your life is. And once you do that and see life for what it is, it's be grateful for the small things. Be grateful for the people that help you. Do things that make you happy. Like, so many people complain about life. I get a massage at my gym every single day because guess what? That's one thing that makes me happy in that day.
I want a massage.
10 Fitness. I watch a movie. My routine is I watch a movie while I'm doing cardio, and I do a little work on my social media and stuff, so I'm like multitasking and writing and all that. And then I do my weights. My weights are what, like, they're helping my body grow. Like, I'm getting stronger physically. And more confident because, when you can start to lift things, you're like, oh, I think I'm strong. And you start to obviously like your appearance. And then I go and sit in a chair for 20 to 40 minutes, depending on how long they let me sit in there. Because I've become friends with them, and they're like, oh, you want another 20 minutes? Go for it. And I literally just, it's these 4 chairs, and the weight room is out there. and I will put my headphones in, I will lay back, and I just kind of pretend like nobody is around me, and I'm getting a massage, and it's the most relaxing thing I've ever experienced.
So at this point, what's in the headphones? Christian music still?
Still, yeah.
Okay.
I have this playlist that just plays over and over again, and because each song has a message that at some point in my life I needed to hear. And so sometimes I'll listen to some songs more, and I'm one of those, like, if there's a song I hear, and I'll listen to that one song all day long.
Okay.
You know, until it's just stuck in my head.
Okay.
To the point where, like, whatever that message is now part of me.
Earworms welcome.
Yes. And same for, like, talking to people. Like, you know, I've just friended so many people on Facebook that...
Yeah, you did. How did you get my name?
I have no idea. Just, you know, and so many people ask me that. They're like, how do you know me? And I was like, honestly, you're probably just in my people you may know, and I just took a chance. And, for, you know, because I went through friends, and I was, you know, I could tell, you know, I said, I could tell it good, bad, and or maybe I think this person would benefit from, you know, hearing something from me. I just would press, you know, friend request. And so half the time I was like, really? It was just by chance that I just happened to be, you know, ask you to be a friend of mine. And I was like, you can, you know, you can look through my social media, and if you want to be friends, or, you know, or if not, it's cool. I don't take it personal. Like, you can always unfriend me if you want to. I'm just trying to reach.
It's not going to happen, Casey Swann. We're friends now.
Yeah.
And friends in real life.
Yeah.
I like that. You know, friend request accepted. Real life. Yeah. Shake a hand.
Exactly. And the cool thing is like, I've had you know what? I think I posted something where I said, I'm never gonna get used to people knowing my name, because I've become so open and real, I guess, on Facebook, that when I meet somebody, they're like, oh, are you so and so? Like, you know, I follow you on Facebook. I've had that happen so many times now. I'm like, okay, I didn't know that I was actually being seen.
Oh yeah.
And so that started, it was weird, because that was like, when all that was happening is when I was at my lowest. I was at my very, very lowest. I was, you know, people would just stop me randomly when I would just be walking by myself, or just be at a bar by myself, or, you know, I've learned to love being by myself. And so when the people do come to me and they're like, hey, I know who you are, or whatnot, it's almost a happy, like, you know, I'm being seen for the first time, and it took me a minute to get used to that. And now I'm almost like happy when someone knows me, because it's like, yeah, I'm that person, and, you know, it's great to meet you. And just like when I met the waiter that just knew me from Facebook and was like, hey, I want to buy you lunch, it was nice to meet him.
Isn't that cool?
And he said the same thing. It was like, it's nice to meet people in person, because, you know, we're all on social media or on the internet, that we've lost that, like, connection, like that real in-person connection with people. And so that's basically what I've been doing, and it's just been amazing. And
you're putting yourself out there, Casey Swann, and that's a good thing. You're going to be a motivational speaker, and I fully believe that you'll open up whatever facility you want to open up to help people. Mm-hmm. You're doing some writing, and you're reading a lot of self-help books, and all the life experiences that you've had, you're going to put them down in some form, on paper, you know, on voice, on video, and you're going to help somebody. Whatever you put out there, if you find it interesting, if it helped you, you're going to help somebody else. And that's what we're here for. We're not just here for ourselves. Yeah, we got to take care of ourselves first. Yeah. But then whatever you learn, whatever knowledge you have, impart it to people.
Oh yeah.
Be the light.
Like, and that's what I know I'm supposed to do. And the people that are in my life, like I was saying, like, I search for people that I want to learn from.
Sure.
I mean, I messaged people that I was like, there's no way that these people would talk to me. Like, you know, I was still in that, like, I'm intimidated a little bit, but then I was like, why am I going to be intimidated? I'm just a person just like they are a person.
Yeah.
Just because their job is something that's way up doesn't mean that they're not a regular person.
Oh, yeah.
So I took that out of my, I guess you would say, vision. And I was just like, okay, no, I'm not going to look at a person for what he does or what, he or she does. I'm going to look at a person by just who they are. And knowing that they have a job that requires a lot of intelligence. So I know that they're someone that I could probably learn from. And that's what I do. I pick people's brains.
Oh, yeah.
I will go.
This is what I'm doing with this podcast.
Exactly.
Learning from you, Casey Swann.
And I learn from people, and that's where, like, some people are like, you just meet up with random people and talk. And I'm like, yes.
Yes.
Like, I randomly just, if I feel like I have something to say to these people, or if I feel like we have a good conversation, yeah, I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to them. Because right now, I'm not going out, like, to date people. Or just because I'm newly single and newly divorced doesn't mean that I'm just talking to these people to be in a relationship or, whatever. Did I almost do that? Yes. Because everybody does it. Everybody, when you get out of, like, a long relationship.
Oh, you look for the anchor. Next, you've anchored yourself to this person, and you're anchored in faith, and you're just, man, I'm drifting. I need to anchor myself to somebody.
And I found myself doing that, and I was like, crap. So that was unfortunate, but I still grew from it, because I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not ready.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
What not to do.
I was like, oh, okay, yeah. But it also showed me characters of people around me that I was just like, man, you see people's true colors when you go through things like this. And it just makes me sad, because I'm just kind of like, I expected more, and I hate being disappointed. I hate, because no one, I don't say that I'm disappointed, but just like, if people would just kind of get out of their own bubble or out of their own minds and just see the world a little bigger, you wouldn't take things personal, and you wouldn't attack people that are just trying to survive. Yeah. And so what if we make bad choices? So what if we, randomly say that, oh, we're in love with somebody, or, oh, we're going through emotions.
Yeah.
And no one can control your emotions. And so why judge? Why judge someone's emotions? And that is one thing that I'm struggling with right now. Just, I have really strong emotions, and sometimes I can control them, and sometimes I can't. And it's all in the process of healing, though. Like, I'm healing, and I'm not afraid to say it. I'm healing. Like, and I may not heal in the way that people think I should, but I'm doing me, and I'm doing it in the way that I know I can do it.
Oh, but just like a broken bone, you heal stronger.
Yes.
You're learning from the experience.
So much stronger.
As long as you make mistakes that you can come back from.
Yeah.
There's some people that, that make mistakes and they're incarcerated forever, or, society shuns them forever.
But do you realize that everyone has that choice? Like, for me, I had the choice of letting my circumstances ruin me and just let depression take over.
Right.
And let my health take over. Or the cancer and whatnot take over. Or I can do something and change and, just be this person that is positive. Be this person that enjoys life. Be this person that knows that life is short, because life is short. Because when you have cancer staring at you, you're like, holy crap, I'm 30 years old,
right.
And I don't feel like I have. I was like, why am I living life unhappy? Like,
right.
Why am I just complaining about my life? I was like, why am I not doing anything about it? And so I may look crazy on Facebook or whatnot, because like all of a sudden I went from being this person to this person, And it's because I am different. Like, I went through some doors that were hard and that I had to go through, but I came out stronger. And now, like, nothing can stop me. I have such a strong faith with God. I have a strong faith with myself. I have this, I've become so aware of my surroundings, and I'm in tune with people and just the world, it feels like sometimes, that everyone has that capability. Like, it's just, if you just open your mind, then the world is limitless. Like, and that's all that I try to tell people is wake up. Just wake up. Because I had blinders on for 10 years, or 30 years. I had blinders on for 30 years.
Right.
Because I keep saying 10, but 10 was just the most intense years. I mean, I don't know if my husband's going to ever hear this, but like...
He probably will.
He's not the reason for me being unhappy. He was the reason that, yes, we went through unhappy, but I was unhappy before that, and I was, I was lost.
Right.
And then for 30 years, I didn't know where to go. And now that I'm finally, the blinders are off, I'm awake, I see the light, I see the world for what it is, it's like, why don't you take advantage of that gift and use your wisdom to help wake people up, like to help take people's blinders off. And that's what that's basically what I've been doing. And it's like one person at a time, and maybe now a lot more. But I've only been doing like one person at a time. Like every day, I would talk to just one random person that I didn't talk. In the last 2 weeks, I have met so many people, and sometimes I'll take the time to meet them for lunch, or at the gym, or just wherever, and I'll just talk and I will listen. And when I listen, I can already tell what part of their life they're in. And I'm like, you're almost there, or I try to just help steer them in the right direction, because I feel like I'm only a guide, just like a therapist is a guide, just like the doctor is a guide. We're all healers, and we're all guiding you to where you need to be, to feel whole again. But you as a person have to do the work, because it's not easy. And people think life can just be given to them. Happiness can just be given to them. And it's like the hardest and easiest thing to do, because you have to be willing to stay true to who you are, to your core, to love who you are, to know who you are, and to grow from other people, but to not let them shake who you are as a person. Like, you need to create a foundation that is strong and grow from that foundation, and then let people around you help you, and grow, help you see things from different perspectives and grow, and then know when to not allow someone in your life. Like, know that you have to keep them at a distance, and that you're here to help, but don't allow them to affect you and your growth. And that's just, and so I meet certain people for a reason. So I said, life is rarely a coincidence. Like, you're meeting that person for a reason. Or, I don't know. I don't know the answers to everything. I'm not, I am learning just like everybody else. I may just be on a different path than you are, or maybe I'm just a little further in front of you, or behind you, or whatever. But sure, we all have a path, and sometimes, what did I say?
When you stop learning, you stop being a person. You need to keep learning.
But do you realize that so many people out there stop learning?
No, stop it.
They become so complacent, and they become so routine.
Right.
And they just live every day in the same,
Yeah, it's Lucy in the Chocolate Factory. Oh, Put chocolate on
Yes.
it. Put the powder on the chocolate. Put the powder on the
And
chocolate.
I did that, and it's just, and now that I'm not, I'm like, oh my goodness, like why was I doing that? Because you watch TV, you watch movies, everyone says, do this, and then this is how your life is supposed to be, and this is how life is going to be. That is not life. I mean, that's a boring life, but it's not a fulfilling life. Like, unless you're doing something that you absolutely love, you're in a routine. You're in a complacent, just, I'm living life, and you're human. So that human part of you that feels like they're missing something is going to grow and grow. And then you don't realize that the people around you who are planting seeds, like I think, honestly, you don't realize that the people around you can plant a seed and you don't even know it.
Oh, yeah.
And
keep craving that knowledge. Keep
Yeah.
reaching for other things.
Yeah.
If you have an idea, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like I have a crazy idea, and I wrote it down. I wrote the outline of my book in an hour.
I like how you throw that word crazy around. Was it a crazy idea?
To me, it was like,
Running with scissors? Was it crazy? I don't know.
Not okay. So when I say crazy, it's just out of the normal for me, or it just
For you.
yeah. I'm
Okay.
like, okay, how do I say it? It's not crazy. It's just like mind blowing.
Yeah. How did you think of that?
Yes, like how did I just write the outline of my book in an hour at a restaurant? Because I decided to sit down after my workout, and so I go to Cash, and they have this balcony at Cash
What's Cash?
restaurant downtown.
Okay.
It's this balcony.
It's so funny. I just got here in 2009 from South Florida, and I still don't know so many places. I'm in Conway, and Little Rock is still foreign to me.
Dang, yeah, no. I'm learning places too, honestly. And
Born and raised in Bryant area.
no, I was born in California, born in San Diego.
San Diego. Okay.
We came here when I was 7, so I've been here since I was 7. So I basically say Arkansas is my home because it is my home.
How did the parents? Okay, Philippines.
My dad's in the Navy, Philippines. My dad,
Navy,
yeah.
Philippines. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cliche.
Yeah.
Very cliche. I like
Very.
that. And San Diego's a big Navy port.
Yep.
And yeah.
And
that's
how I got here, and my brother got here.
Brother older or younger?
Younger.
Younger, okay.
He's like just a year younger than me.
Okay, so both born in San Diego.
Yes.
And got here so what brought them to Arkansas?
My dad got hurt, I think, in the Navy, and he ended up coming here for Union Pacific because that's I guess a big thing here.
Railroad.
Railroad, yeah. He does heating and air. He works for a heating and air business now. That's just his trade. That's what he does. It's his gift. Like, I look at everyone that in life now that's their gift. That's what they're really good at. And and if everyone just tries to figure out like what their gift is, what are they good at, and just harnesses that gift and just makes it like become an expert at that gift, you're gonna go places. And it doesn't have to be an expert at what is this job or what is this school. Go to school for this, go to school for that. Like, find what you as a person are gifted in.
Sure.
And do it to your best ability, and and then keep growing. And so my dad, he's a handyman. He knows how to fix everything. He works so hard, and sometimes I'm like, man, can you just retire and just chill?
No, he'd make a good husband. Being able to build stuff, that's great.
He doesn't build. He doesn't build. He just.
But a handyman fixing things. That's great.
Yeah, he's not afraid to figure it out, and and that's one thing that my son I've already know about my son is he likes to take things apart and put them back together, and I'm like.
Oh, and put them. I'm glad you qualified that and put them back together because I used to take things apart all the time.
Well, of course, he would take things apart and he would try to figure out how, and then sometimes he would figure out how to put them back together, but sometimes he would just need me to show him one time how to put it back together. And then he's like, "Oh, okay, I got this now." And so then
2 years old, the teacher.
Yeah, and that's why I know he's smart. Like I don't know what he's gonna do, but I just know he's smart. But that's really all you have to do in life is be what you're good at. Like, and that's I spoke to someone that, or I've been speaking to different like authors and asking their information on like how they did what they did, or like a doctor, or and just kind of have conversations with them and see, just kind of pick their brains and just what kind of person are you? Because you have this job that saves people's lives, or you're I think I spoke with like a neurosurgeon, and I was like, I just want to know, like, you obviously have a brilliant mind, and I just want to kind of, if you allow me to, can I just learn from you? Like,
Casey Swann, you've been doing this podcast. All you need is a recorder. So look for the Casey Swann podcast very soon in the near future.
But see, I just never even thought of that. And
if you have a phone, you have a recording device. All you have to do is hit the recorder on your phone, and you can learn things, keep it for later, and if you feel like publishing it, do it.
Maybe that's why I'm here talking to you.
There you go.
Like,
start a podcast.
Hey, yeah, I could.
You should. You're an interesting person, Casey Swann.
Oh, yeah.
You have knowledge to impart.
I could talk forever. Honestly.
You can talk forever, and I like this. This is you've made it. Well, are you the longest? I think I talked to my brother. He was Navy, and we talked about motorcycles. But I think you're the longest podcast I have with a single person.
Goodness.
Yeah, I did a band, and I think they went pretty long, almost 3 hours. But yeah, you're chit chatting.
Oh, I know it. Yeah,
you've kept me interested. You've kept me enthralled. And yes, your motivational
twice.
Yes, your motivational speak 1 hour on the hour has come up at least twice.
Yeah.
There is something that I want to ask about, and it's the jewelry that you have on. I've seen the pendant that you have in pictures, and what is the pendant? It must mean something.
It does. So when I was going through some hard times, this one was like looking at everything. Like when I was searching everywhere. I was searching spiritually, I was searching religiously, I was searching just, I was looking at astrology, like every form of just the world, basically. Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of things in this world. And I saw this, and it basically represents 7 crystals. I don't know the crystals' names, I could look them up, but it's 7 crystals that help heal, with healing. Because I knew that I had a lot of healing to do. And so I wear this close to my heart, because I don't know if it works, but all I know is I wear it.
Oh yeah.
And I've been healing, and so many people have asked me what it was, or what the necklace meant. And
sure. Describe it a little bit if you can. The pendant. It's rectangular.
Yeah, it's rectangular, and it has this. Let me look it up, because I don't want to butcher it. Like, I don't want this. The company is called Vinaya or something like
Well, for the longest time, living in the Florida Keys, it's very eclectic. There's a lot of different types of people in South Florida. And I was speaking with a Wiccan. Let's see, I must have been 18 or 19 when I moved to Key Largo from Fort Lauderdale. And she gave me this crystal, and I wore it for the longest time. And I had no idea why I was wearing it. I thought it was pretty. I thought, hey, it's pretty cool. But every year, she would find me on my birthday or really close to my birthday and say, hey, happy birthday. And this is over 10 years, and we really never had that much contact with each other throughout the rest of the year, but she'd always make a point, hey, happy birthday. Where'd you come from?
Yeah.
And I don't know how she would find me, but yeah, I wore this crystal that she gave me, and she did give it to me. She was running a shop, and she said, here, have this crystal, it's yours. I said, how much owe you? No, it's yours.
Do you realize that I even did that to a person? I had this bracelet that had like the 7 chakras, the represented the 7 chakras basically, and I just felt like this person needed it, because I had this, because I was wearing both of them at the same time. Like I was wearing the bracelet and the necklace. Oh, okay. And so, but for some reason, I felt like this person needed it, so I just gave it to them.
Here's the bracelet.
Yeah, I was like, this is. I feel like you need this. And so, I mean, I gave it. And I was like, maybe I guess I don't need it, but this person needs it more than I do.
Now, in yoga, there's a little bit of spirituality in that, right? Like I said, I've never done yoga. I've heard about yoga. I've watched the yoga YouTube. I've tried to do the stretching and such. But
I mean, I'm honestly learning. I'm still in the beginning stages of learning about
only
all of that.
A couple months or a week ago, you did your first class, and
like I just now like realized like the different chakras. I started researching chakras and like that type of, education, and and the crystals and yoga and breathing, and I mean there's a reason why that has been around for a very long time. Like if you really look at things, we are in this world of like we got to find better or we got to find the next best thing, whereas yoga has been around for thousands of years. Right. And if you honestly just look at the things that have stayed and have worked, they're still here for a reason, because they work. We don't need a bunch of new things. Like, to be honest, all the people in our past, and that, our past is where we learn.
Sure.
And so the things that people have done in the past, whether it be exercise, yoga, all the, whatever it is, and that's why faith, the Bible, like it's been here, and it's for a reason. If you really just, everything, no matter how you look at things, there's always going to be one person where it comes from. Like, I feel like it's my, God, but for everybody, life is like a pyramid. We're all just growing, and
wait, so life is a pyramid scheme? Come on, didn't we talk about this already?
But
everything's a pyramid.
It really is. It's except for like, I feel, it is. I don't know where I was trying to go. I have this image in my head that's like kind of like evolving, and I'm trying to decipher what it's meaning. What it's saying.
You're the star of your own movie, and yes, you're at the top of your pyramid, and hopefully you're.
But to realize that there are,
as you go,
I'm at the top of my pyramid only because I've climbed that mountain.
Sure.
And I have more mountains to climb, for sure, higher mountains to climb, but I'm not. But I want to. Like, I have that just drive and determination to just get there, and I know that I will one day. And I don't know how I know all this, to be honest. Like, it's like I have this information in my head, and sometimes it's like how the brain is so complex that like there's just knowledge in places that you're going places that you haven't looked at, or like I'm basically looking at a brain like an electrical unit where you're going into places that you haven't been, and that's where my mind is. When you constantly learn and you keep learning, you're allowing your mind to just expand, and you start to understand things that you may have 5 years ago thought were crazy ideas, but they're not. Like, why do you think we have the things we have? Because people went into those parts of their mind and said, hey, let's create this, or hey, this needs to be part of everyday life. Like, hey, let's create a cell phone, hey, let's make the internet, hey, it's because those people went into their minds and they just dug deep, and hey, this can benefit the world, or hey, this can do this or do that. Anyways, back to my necklace, pendant. It's called an Oregon Chakra Healing Pendant, which means it's designed to help balance, align, and cleanse your 7 chakras. It's like this necklace clears, balances, and energizes your main energy centers by one, reestablishing balance and harmony with your body, mind, and soul. It said this pendant emanates powerful positive vibrations from Oregon energy that blocks electromagnetic pollution from like cell phones, towers, smartphones, Wi-Fi, and more. These specific stones were chosen for their ability to work together and amplify each other's energy and healing properties. These stones were sources from India, Brazil, Peru, and South Africa. Each necklace was tuned to the healing, I don't know what that means, or that word, Schumann resonance.
Butchered up. I butcher stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm sure somebody will understand.
And like 432 hertz. So whatever that means. But
so you're at a frequency. It's supposed to channel a frequency.
Yeah, I mean,
432 hertz sounds like a radio frequency.
Do
of some
you
kind.
realize that? Okay, now I'm not about to delve into a little. Like, if you expand your mind here,
hit me, Casey Swann.
expand your mind. We are energy.
Yes.
We are, like, if you go back to just atoms and science, we are balls of energy, and we radiate energy, like we all do. The world is energy, and so it's like everything around us plays a part in everything. We may not think it, but it's, I don't know. Yeah, we're all.
I fully believe that, Casey Swann.
I'm trying to
getting
say.
Good energy from you.
Yes.
And you say you know how to read people.
Yeah.
That's partially energy. You're getting the good energy from them.
Yes.
Call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
But you get good feelings from people. Yes, from the smile, from the eyes, from the face. Oh, there's somebody I want to know. I want to be around. But there's other... there's things that if you had your eyes closed, a blind person can sense that energy.
Yes.
And I fully believe that's
Yes.
true as well.
And so the 7 crystals are I'm going to butcher these, I'm sorry. Amethyst?
Sure, amethyst.
Amethyst, yeah. Maybe you can change these.
I never learned to read.
Like,
Yeah.
amethyst.
Oh, my eyeballs are done.
You can make it bigger.
Yeah. Oh, I can make it bigger. Lapis lazuli, turquoise, aventurine. And there's one in yellow, citrine, orange agate, and carnelian.
There you go.
Yes.
I have gum in my mouth, and I was like, I'm going to butcher these.
Hey, you're a good speaker, even with gum in your mouth the whole time.
Yeah.
That's great.
No, like when you're trying I felt like I had my tongue would not say that the purple stone, like amethyst. Man, like I struggled. But basically, I just read about it and like the people that bought it, and it came with these words of affirmation, which said, "I'm secure, I'm passionate, I am willful, I am open-hearted, I speak my truth, I am intuitive, I am connected," and it just resonated with me. And it
Speaks to you.
It speaks to me. It's because it's everything I needed help in, and so that's why I wear it every day, and I probably will wear it for a very long time. It's a part of me.
Man, I've been through the gambit of religion. Started as a Catholic, now I'm American.
American, yeah.
But I've been through it. I've dated girls and gone to their synagogues and Jehovah's Witnesses and Baptist churches and Southern Baptist and Black Baptist churches, and just I've been to a mosque. So. Just learning from different people and the crystals, the Wiccans. I worked with a Wiccan at the hospital, and we chatted for quite some time. Searching. One of my heroes, Elvis Presley, and should he be a hero? The man was on drugs his whole life, man. But he was always searching. Supposedly, the book that he was reading when he passed away was "Searching for the Face of Jesus" or something like that. Always searching. Never stop searching, Casey Swann.
Oh, I don't have to search because I know He's with me.
Okay.
And that's where. So, yes, I'm non-denominational, but I have my own, like, how do I explain this? I have my own personal relationship with God. Like, yes, religion is there to guide you. Like I spoke to my leaders of my church, and I said, And I tried to, and I was letting them know like where I was in my journey. And I said, I don't know what is causing me to, like, sometimes people, I get these feelings where it's so strong that I'm like, I have to make a meeting. I'm supposed to talk to them. Like, I literally was like, for 2 weeks trying to make an appointment because we just had to get our schedules right. Because I was like, no, something is like I felt compelled to talk to them, and I went with it, and it was just like I asked these people to be guides in my life.
How many people?
It was just my pastor and his wife.
Okay, and these are at New Life,
in Saline County. Yeah. And I basically just asked them. I was like, this is where I'm at right now in my, path or journey, and some things that I told them like put off some red flags, and I was like, I'm in that, like, I'm like a 2-year-old, like I'm soaking in everything that this life or that the world has to offer.
Yes.
And I'm trying to decipher what is good for me and what will keep me on the right path that I am trying to create. Like, I know that God is my main instructor, you would say. Like,
yeah, he's your driving force. That's good.
He's the one that has gifted me with these strengths that I have.
And you believe this as an actual entity and not a spiritual construct. You think he's an entity that's guiding you.
I mean, both. Like, if you, for instance, like if you just live your life like Jesus did, like, it's not hard. That
guy seemed like a pretty cool dude, believe that he was God or not. He seemed like he was living right.
Well, see, that's the thing, is like he wasn't living as, yes, he was God, but he wasn't living as God. Like, he was just trying to help the people around him, say that, hey, you can be happy, you can be free, you can, just have faith. Like, that's all he was trying to spread, was just to have faith. And that's why, like, today we have so many different religions, and it's just because there are so many people in this world, and every religion is basically centered around the same exact idea. But just because
what is that idea in your
honestly
opinion?
It's to live a life of treating people how you would want to be treated, to love people, to
oh, you mean the golden rule? Do unto others,
basically. But
treat people right.
We have and that's the thing, is like, I don't, like, humanity, I just feel like we've lost humanity in a way, because so many people don't do that anymore. They're out for what's best for them, or they're out for what will get them another buck, or they're out there for to hurt people, or just because hurt people. And it's, I don't know, it's insane when all you really have to do is just be nice to somebody.
Yeah.
And just help when you can. And honestly, helping is like, you listen, buy a person a meal, take them out to wherever, take them to the movies. Like, that's where I'm saying I'm grateful for all these small things that people have done, is because I'm meeting good people just by being a good person. And and that's really all it takes to be happy, is I live by that golden rule, is just treat people how you would want to be treated. Yeah. And obviously there's guidelines of, because there's temptation everywhere. Like, there's evil everywhere. There's people out there that are going to see who you are and try to bring you down,
take advantage. And
it's those people that need help. It's those people that are hurt that throw those stones. And just, I will never say, because I make mistakes. I'm not Jesus. I'm not God. I have no God complex about myself at all. Like, but I live my life as if I'm following God's plan or God's path. Just love people, help, and if you're in the if you can help, or if you're in a position where you can, do it. Yeah. And whenever I say I want to build this empire of mine, I want to build this empire where I take care of the people under you, or under me. I am not
Queen Casey.
No. No. How do I explain this? I want to create a business where, because you take care of me, I'm going to take care of you, and I'm going to treat you like family, and I want to create a business where they want to come to work, and they want to do these things because they fully believe that this is their purpose.
Benevolent, Casey.
And that's why I said it's a mind-blowing idea that I wrote down, and I was just okay.
Let's do it. How do we put it into...
How?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I started just messaging the people that, I would see, what do they do for a living, and, how do I get in touch with this person or that person? And that's what I've been doing, and it's been crazy, because I'm using that word crazy, and because I wouldn't...
You've been throwing that out over the past couple of hours.
Because I would never have done this before. I'm doing things that scare me.
Growing as a person, yeah. Casey Swann.
Do things that scare you. Do things that you think, oh, maybe I wouldn't be able to do that. But do it. Because once you actually do it, and if you see you can't do it, then you can at least admit to yourself, hey, that is not my gift. And then, or two, you could do something that scares you and then be like, oh, that helped. I didn't know I could do that. Yes. And let it help grow who you are. And that's all that I've been doing. And I just want to keep doing it. And so that's me and my story and my...
Feel like you're on the right path, Casey Swann?
I am.
Yes.
And I was nervous about this because I woke up late, and apparently I was emotional last night. I fell asleep on the couch, and it was 11:30, and they're like, we forgot that you had to be somewhere. And I jumped off the couch. I had to comb my hair in the library parking lot. I was putting my makeup on in the car as I was driving here. I'm going to take a picture with you because you are put together.
I
felt so unprepared.
It's a story about you, and you've given your story, Casey Swann.
Yeah.
You've talked about you, and you've talked about the different facets of you, and how you've learned, and how you've grown as a person. And I appreciate that, and my listeners will appreciate that. They know more about you, Casey Swann, and if they want to know more about you, how do they get in contact with you?
Just find me on Facebook through Casey Swann, or Instagram. It's C Swann 0907. So far, I think those are the only two things I have right now. But there's going to be more.
Yeah.
I have more to come.
More to come. And this book, did you put a time limit on it? Or is it something that is going to be ongoing?
It's one. No, I put a time limit on it. I don't know the exact time. Okay, how do I explain it? Because I'm contradicting myself. I put a time limit, but there's not a specific time limit. If I honestly
expected 2020?
I could do that, yeah. Because really, the book is done. It's just I have to sit down and take time and just write it out. I wrote the chapters.
It's done in your head.
It's done in my head, yeah.
It's not on paper yet.
Yeah, it's not on paper. Well, yeah, some of it is, because there are some things that I've wrote down that I'm going to put into it. So the organizing part. But for the majority, I could probably just, if I decide, hey, one day I'm just going to sit down, I'm going to write this book, I could probably write it in one day.
Yeah.
But I'm still learning, and I'm still kind of getting people's perspectives on things. And so I want to make sure that I get I'm doing my research, basically.
Sure.
That is one thing. It was sometime this week, I was out at a cache, and I met these people who are business owners, and and I was just telling them what I was doing. I mean, I'm someone who basically doesn't have money to her name. I don't have a current job. I just going through a divorce, and I'm starting over, and I'm over here like telling these people who obviously run big businesses, like one owns a hotel chain here in Arkansas.
Excellent, yeah.
Or everywhere, really, I don't know. But he's someone that made a good living for himself. So, I mean, you have to be smart to do that.
Do you?
I mean...
Maybe you just hire smarter people.
He was intelligent.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure he had some semblance of smart, but if he's really smart, he hires people that are smart to be around him, to learn from.
These people that are intelligent, I felt normal around.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't feel like I was less than. I didn't feel like I was more than. I just felt like they were people, normal people that do amazing things, but I could have a conversation with them and simply have a conversation without, feeling like I mean, we were learning from each other, because that's what you do when you have a conversation. You learn from each other. I helped them and they helped me, and they're handing me things like, oh, this is what you're doing, like get in touch with this person or do this, or I could help you out with that, and it's amazing. Like the pieces are just falling, and I'm just over here just in awe of like everything that is happening in my life, because I just took a leap of faith and just decided to not have control. Like people think that they know how to control their lives. They think that they can have this set idea of who they are and go with it, and some people do. But then there's people like me who are lost and don't know where they fit in. And it took me 30 years to figure out where I fit in and what my purpose was. But it took a lot of work to dig deep and figure out who that person was. And now that I know who that person was, I can study that part of me and make it better and just enhance it. And like I want to be a yoga instructor, but I want to be the best yoga instructor. Like I don't want to settle for just being a yoga instructor. I want to learn and be one of the best. Of course, that's going to take time. And hours.
Right, of course, it's going to take time. But a lot of people want to be Beyonce, but do they? Do they really want to be Beyonce and put in that work?
Yeah,
she's
got a talent, and she knew what work it took to get there, and she did it. And that's the only difference. Is
hard work.
People have to learn to work again.
Put the work in.
Put the work in. Stop thinking that life is going to hand you everything. Life will start handing you things when you start working for those things.
Mm-hmm. It starts falling into place, like you were talking about earlier. The puzzle pieces laying out in front of you.
Like God will show you He's there.
Yes.
When you finally show Him you're worthy of Him showing you, because you can't live a life of bad things and think He's just going to swoop up and save you and you have a brand new life. Like, I don't know how to explain that other than you have to show, like, for instance, in order to be a CEO of a company, you have to show lots of people you have the gift and the ability to be that person.
Yes.
Like, you be that boss, you have these people under you, they look to you to be that person. But you had to do the work to be that person. Just like when I said I'm in the very beginning stages of mine, but I'm getting there. I'm working my way up. I'm proving myself. And I know that I'm going to be something one day.
Yeah, but you're the CEO of Casey Swann Incorporated right now.
Yeah, that's me. Because that's all I'm in control of is me.
Yeah.
And
that's a lot, though.
But when I say that you have no control, because you don't have control, like life will throw you all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And you have to know you have to be able to know whether that situation, person, thing is going to benefit you or is going to hurt you. So when you finally find you have to decide whether you're going to grow, or you're going to let something pull you back. Like, that's some kind of vision in my mind. Is that when you become so strong and just love you, be you will know what's good for you. And you will know what path you're supposed to be going on. You will know whether that is what you're supposed to do, just because life will give you signs. Like, life will show you, like, yeah, this happened. And sometimes here lately, like, I laugh because I'm like, sometimes I'm like, God, the world has a sense of humor. Like, Mother Nature has a sense of humor. The universe has a sense of humor. God has a sense of humor. Because we may think we're in control, but we're not. And we can only just pick and choose. Like, you know how like, you have free will.
Uh-huh.
We can pick and choose.
Now, do we have free will, or is it fate?
We have free will. No, we have free will.
So we're the authors of our own fate.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can basically let your faith and let the world show you what to do. And and sometimes I think when you're given two choices, wherever you are in life is going to determine where you go.
Uh-huh.
And now that I did the work to fix the inner part of me. Mm-hmm. Now I don't have to work so hard at just being me and allowing the universe to just show me what to do, or just having faith that God will put the right people in my life. And because it's not just one entity, it's a bunch of everything just coming together. And each person is a light and a ball of energy in this big world that we live in. Or just we are small but big at the same time. And we have that.
We're part of something bigger.
Yeah. And we have that ability to be bigger. But people just these days are too afraid and let fear or judgment or, being different hold them back. And now when I see someone different and they're embracing that different part of them, I love that person. And I love people who just be them no matter what. Because those are the strongest people. Those are the ones that are making an impact on people, because they're memorable. They're not trying to just fit into society, and because we need more real people. Like, we're starting to just become the same person because we're all comparing ourselves to this same idea of what a person is supposed to be, or a life is supposed to be, or you compare your marriage to, or your relationship, or just we compare. Comparison is just, it's like how do I explain this? When you put a rotten banana next to good bananas,
sure,
it's going to make those good bananas rotten.
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually, like really, yeah. Well,
is it quicker?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I think, yeah.
I better keep my banana separate then.
Yeah, like if you buy like two I don't know, I just learned that.
All right.
From experience, because I used to put them all together, and then
so do I.
Like
I still do. Yeah.
Like fruit, if there is rotten fruit in a bowl of fruit, that rotten fruit is going to cause the others to rot faster.
One bad apple. I've heard that my whole life.
That saying is for a reason. Yeah. And you just have to learn to. I don't know where I was going.
Be the good apple.
Be the good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just learn to know what is good for you and what's bad for you. It's not that hard. Like, if you just think, is this something that I should probably know because I wrote something. But is this something that is either going to make me a better person,
right,
bring me closer to God, or closer to my vision and my goal, or is this going to take me away from it? And that's just how I've been living life. I've learned to avoid the things that I know will probably take me away from it. And of course, I've fallen into that where, just for instance, I said I almost fell into that relationship or other person.
Right.
And it's only because I was just
reaching.
I was reaching.
Yeah, you were drowning, and you're thinking, "Oh, let me latch onto this."
And this person saved me from this. I was going through anxiety attacks. I was just in
rebound. I think that's the word.
Oh, I hate that word. I hate rebound, but
there's a lot of terminology that I want to shun that.
There are words that there's a negative
connotations to that
word. Yeah. And it's just sometimes I just have to take them out. It's bad because I tell my daughter some of those words, and I'm like, I prefer that word not be, for you not to ever say that word. There's nothing good that comes out of that word, and so I'd rather you just not say it. And she gets confused, and she's
we've been through a few of those words in this podcast.
Yeah, like crazy.
That was crazy. The haters, the pyramid. Yeah.
But it's I don't know. It's just it's what you surround yourself around, and I lost track again. So
that's all right. That is all right.
I don't know what I was talking about. Sorry.
You say you had a notebook that you had things written down, and you've done great.
Oh, yeah, that's because I was basically just saying that, I wrote something. I'll share it later, probably. But it's just simple, and life isn't complicated. We as people make life complicated when there's no reason to be. There's no reason to be mean to each other. There's no reason to judge each other. There's no reason to, why can't we just want to just help each other? If we just, I'm living in a very childlike state or, thought where why can't we help someone that needs help, or why can't we be nice to someone that's just needs someone to be nice to, or, a random person sitting by themselves, say hi, cheer that person up. Why do we feel like we have to be judged? Why does it matter what a person does to make them happy? Why would that make a person so unhappy? Why do we have to be mean to those people? Like you said, those haters. Why do those people feel like the need to bring those people down back to earth so that
makes themselves feel
better? I had somebody say that, and it just blew my mind. Literally, I was told that I needed to come back down to earth and that my poop stank like the rest of us, like the rest of everybody. And I was like, wow.
Well, I believe the latter part does. Yes, poop does stink. I get it.
Yes.
But I see you see yourself in the infancy of this new life that you're carving for yourself.
Yes.
Treat me like a child because I want to learn like a child learns. I'm trying to find myself all over again. And I did that at 40. I'm 50 right now. I did that at 40. I came to Arkansas in 2009 and started all over again. Yeah. I was a radio, firefighter, DJ down in Key Largo and said, let's try something new. Start over again.
I think I told my friend that last night. I was like, who has the right to tell you when you can't just start completely over?
Yeah.
Because sometimes the only way to get out of that rut that you're in is to just let go of your past and your life that you are living and start completely over.
Yeah.
And
you're doing it, Casey Swann.
Yeah.
You're finding a life. You're taking care of your kids. That's first and foremost. When you talk about your daughter and especially the light of your life, you loved
baby.
him. You loved him so much you called him son. Or he was so bright you called him son.
Yeah, he's my baby. And I think it's just because he's also my baby, and I just have that. He's my little boy, and so and my daughter is that we butt heads, and she challenges me like I challenge her. So I don't have that love. I mean, of course I love her.
Of course, man.
She is. I learned so much from her all the time.
Yeah.
But my son is just okay, so he's 2 years old, and I still give him a bottle because I think I'm just in denial. I don't want him to be a 2-year-old anymore.
Sure.
I just want him to stay a baby.
Yeah.
Because I'm don't go. Just stay a baby. Just stay little.
I've heard people breastfeeding till they're 3 or so, Sometimes people would judge that, and I judge if it's working, it's working.
Yeah, I personally could not do that, but to each their own. And, but I want my kids to be proud of their mom. And just because, like, from splitting, in my marriage, my kids have become so different. My dog has become different. We have a German Shepherd, and we just thought he was special. Like, he chased his tail all the time, and like,
he is special.
I was like, poor baby. Like, I think I don't know, but I was just literally like, bless his heart. I don't know why he's so anxious and whatnot, but I just kind of accepted it, and I was like, well, I guess we have a special dog that likes to chase his tail and run into walls.
At least it's not the 2-year-old doing that. I've heard of that too.
Well, yeah, my 2-year-old is such a clumsy person too. I was like, I'm sorry. I tell my son sorry all the time because I'm like, you got that from me. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Like the clumsy, tripping over things, hitting. Yeah, there was a time where I think I had so many bruises on my leg, I had no idea where I got them. Like, I walk through life sometimes and things are in my path and I don't see them, and yeah,
I wasn't abused. I literally fell down.
Yeah, no, and it's because I'm so in my own mind and world, and like I forget that I'm in the real world. Like like this desk is going to hurt me if I walk into it.
Yeah. At least you're aware of that. The desk will hurt you if you walk into it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Don't do that, Casey.
My kid had to learn that too, because he had knots on his head like every month, and I was like, I swear I watch him, I promise. But yeah, like I want to be that light, that influence, that person that my kids are proud of.
Yes. That
they respect, because they didn't have respect for me, because I didn't have respect for myself. And now that they do, I'm less stressed. Like, I don't have anxiety anymore. I don't have like, honestly, I'm being their mom now. Yes. Like, I'm being their mom, and I'm being there to nurture them and to help them grow. Yes, I'm still growing as a person, but like, I'm using my strength and my knowledge and wisdom to show them, how to grow, to be strong, independent, loving people. And that's all that we as parents are supposed to do, is to be their guide and to make sure that we're a good person, or to bring, just kind of guide them in the right direction. And except for I feel like I'm doing that with my kids, and I'm doing that with, hundreds of people. Like, yes. I can barely respond to all the messages that I get.
That's good. You are that light, and you're becoming that light, Casey Swann.
Yeah.
And never stop learning.
Yeah.
You know that. You have that in your head already. You're not going to stop learning.
But
and you're not going to stop teaching either.
I also have to remember I'm one person.
Yes.
Because I had to...
But how many one persons have you heard in your whole life that have become more than they're more than one person? The people that you think about, the famous people in the world, and this is the What Makes You Famous podcast. Yeah. It's not because you're famous, it's because you have a story to tell, and you have knowledge to impart, and you've learned things, and you want to share things about yourself, Casey Swann, and you're doing that. Can you think of people? Why did Albert Einstein pop into my head? He's bigger than he ever. Henry David Thoreau. He's bigger than Jesus Christ. He's bigger than one person.
For sure, and it's those people that, I don't know if I'm going to be one of those people that creates some kind of legacy where people remember me, but I'm sure going to do my best.
Do it.
And
help as many people as you can, Casey Swann.
Because helping people helps me. I'm one of those people. Like, if you look at it as like so I know all these like words and terminology just because I've been reading.
Oh, there's plenty of cliches.
Like, look at your love cup, and some people add love to it, and some people take love out of it.
Right.
And when I help people, when I fill people's cups, or when, whatnot, and I let them just listen, let it out, talk it out, because talking, you don't realize, like, just by saying it out loud, you're allowing your mind to dig a little deeper. And like me, sometimes I'll veer off into different places, but sometimes when you're on, by yourself, veer off into those places and make notes of them and be like, oh, I went I look at your mind as like a map.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my mind went this way, so there's a reason, or my mind went that way, there's a reason. Like,
I may need to revisit that.
Yeah, that is why, like, I tell you, I could talk for a very long time if, you let me. But it's because my mind goes off into so many different directions, and I'm just trying to make sure I'm on the right, like the same right here, like, so I don't veer off to too many places. But I'm aware that I do that, and like I said, a few times, is that all of that in the end just comes to one thing, and that's loving you.
Yeah.
And being confident in you, and knowing that you are making the right choices and you are doing what is best for you, and it does not matter what anybody else thinks, as long as you are happy and you are doing you. I don't know how to explain that.
My love cup runneth over.
Yes.
Casey Swann.
And then just share it with others. Share it with others. And, when you have extra love, share it. And when you need some, know the people that you can go to that can help fill that cup up. Because I'm learning the people that I need. Because I learned that, when I said I was getting that heart, it's because I have a big heart.
Sure.
And I know that I share too much sometimes. I share too much love for people. And then it wears me down. Like my energy, I can wear my energy down so fast. Just because I'm giving people my energy, or I'm giving people my love, because sometimes I know that those people need my love. And so I have found people in my life that I can go to that will help fill my love.
Yeah.
My love cup.
You have places to recharge.
Yes.
Where's your best places to recharge? Think about them in your head right now.
The river.
Yes.
Really anywhere by myself. And then there's certain people that know who they are. And I've told them, I was like, you are someone that feels like home to me, or you're someone that feels like a safe space. Like I have the nutrition, or it's called the nutrition spot off of Chanel. Like that was a safe place for me to go when I was going through trouble, because the people in there, or the guy that owns the business, his name is Jeremy, and he went through a lot of the same things that I'd went through, and he owns a business where he does the same thing. He's helping people through shakes, but he's, like he sells shakes. The thing is, like, he sells shakes, but he also gives you his wisdom. And
people from the outside, the man sells shakes.
Yeah, he listens.
But he's so much more.
Yeah, he's so much more.
Yeah.
And he played a big part in, me.
Sure.
Because he helped bring people that he was like, well, I feel like this, girl would really help benefit you. Third time. And so, like, that person that he put in my life was a person that was just like me.
Yeah.
Broken, but had such a big heart and a good heart. Like, you can see the light that radiates off her. I call her my angel. Like, she's just my angel. And then, I met this other person who, like, and we met at that same nutrition spot. Except for, I didn't realize he was friends with her. And so, like, when we all just found out that we were all friends with each other, like, I call him my superhero, because he really is. He dresses up like a superhero, as just some of it, like a charity thing that he does. And it's like the most awesome thing ever, because I was like,
Wait a minute. Maybe I know him. I do a lot of Comic-Cons around town.
Probably. He's
Jeremy. Oh, this.
No, that's not Jeremy.
No.
Jordan.
Wait. Jordan.
His name is Jordan. He does. What is that superhero?
Yeah, I have a Comic-Con this next weekend, Saturday. I'll
Where
be
is
at the
it?
CosCon at the Little Rock Holiday Inn.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he
By the
goes
airport,
to,
I think.
He goes to stuff like that, but
Oh, I'm the DJ over there.
he dresses in. I forgot what the character's called. So hold on.
In fact, he might have been on the podcast. I did one at the Heroes and Angels.
Deadpool. He dresses up like Deadpool. He has this like.
Yeah, I know Jeremy.
Jordan. Yeah.
Jordan. I know Jeremy as well. Huh, weird. Okay.
So Jeremy's the one that works at that owns the nutrition
Deadpool.
spot.
No, I don't think I know Jordan Deadpool.
Yeah.
Maybe I do.
Like he dresses up like Deadpool. He's like the legit Deadpool.
Yes.
And when he told me that, like, I instantaneous was like, you are someone that's supposed to be in my life. Like, you are my superhero.
Cool.
Like, and he's a friend that I can just, we just want friends that accept us for us. And he's one of those people. And then, my friend Jessica's like my angel, and she's that light. That
There's a lot of J's.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
Everyone needs a Jessica.
Yeah, but she's like she's got a lot of pain because she's going through a bunch of stuff. But like when she finally sees like her power that she has, I mean she's gonna go places too.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of people out there just like me, and
that help you recharge your batteries when you're
or just
down.
make me know that I'm not different. Like
Yes.
I said I just always felt different.
Yeah, you are different.
I am different,
and that's a good thing.
But there's people that are different that are just like me out there.
Yeah, different and same.
Yeah.
You got your tribe.
Yeah, and that tribe is growing. It's amazing because it's like I didn't know all these people even existed.
Yes.
And so like I feel blessed to have all these people, and I have goosebumps now as I'm talking about it.
Well, I find that people are good. For the most part, people are good people. They're all striving to do the same thing, be it on whatever political, whatever, whatever part of the spectrum that you're on. You want your kids to be well taken care of. You want food on your plate, roof over your head. So, we're just striving for the same things, just maybe in different directions.
And sometimes people do not feel afraid to ask for help.
Yes.
I asked for help from, I would literally say in the last 30 years, hundreds of people. And it takes
sometimes you get the help, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, and it takes a village. It took 12 apostles with Jesus. I mean, it takes people around you.
He had his tribe too. There you go.
I mean,
and the man who's God,
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like you have the choice to pick those people in your life, and who are going to influence you, and who are going to make you into the person you are. Just be strong in who you are. Yeah. Say who you are. Be who you are. And those people, the right people, will make sure you get there, even if they don't know that they're doing that.
Yeah.
So.
I think we got it, Casey Swann. I think you did good. High five on that one. And so, all right, give the people once again how to get a hold of you and the different facets to the different things that are coming up real soon in Casey Swann's life.
So Casey Swann is my name. Starts with a C, so Casey, and then Swan, like the bird, except for like two N's.
Two N's.
And then C Swann 0907 because my birthday is September 7th. That's how you find me on Instagram. But right now I just have those two social media forms. But then I'm writing a book. I'm working on becoming a public speaker.
What's the name of the book again?
It is Nobody Understands Me, Picture Perfect from the Outside.
Look for that.
So yeah, I will make sure I finish that soon. Because I had that image of I was driving and there was an image that popped into my head, and it was almost like I was looking at the book in front of me.
Yeah.
And I wrote it on a piece of paper, like a napkin, which is ironic because like sometimes the greatest things happen just in your mind, and you just have to find something to write on, and you write it.
Oh yeah.
And I've saved it, and it's just the book. Like it's the title of my book, and I know exactly what the outside of the book's going to look like. Yeah. And I know exactly what's going to go on the inside. I just have to organize it. But so I'm going to get that out, probably by the end of this year, and then work on speaking, because honestly, my vision that I have, I want to be able to speak to thousands of people.
Okay.
Stand on a stage and talk to people and, just share.
So the motivational speaking has been one-on-one up to now?
Yes, one-on-one.
Okay.
I have been working one-on-one with people right now.
That's how you start. That's how you learn.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you've made differences in those people's lives?
Every single time.
Yeah.
And that's why I know that I'm that person. It's almost like I'm getting used to how people react to me. Like, I get this reaction from people that are almost like, where did you come from?
Yeah.
One. And then two, it's like I hit spots or points that some people needed, to feel. And that's what people were hiding from. And, I always tell those people, I will never be able to tell you what or how long it's going to time to heal, or what it's going to take for you to accept. But I can only just be here to guide you and tell you what it took me, and you have to go through all those avenues to get to whatever it is that you want to get to that you think is going to make you happy. Yeah. But I've just been working one-on-one with people, and message me, and I love to talk to everybody basically. So if I feel like you're someone I need to speak to, then it's going to happen. I'm not gonna stop life from happening, basically. I just kind of go with the flow, and if I have to drive an hour out to see you, like I did a friend of mine that was in town playing at a gig, and I showed up because I felt like I needed to speak to him, and I did. And when I was there, I found out why. And it was the oddest thing ever, because we hadn't seen each other in years. And I just so happened to be like, hey, I feel like the universe is telling me to talk to you for some reason. And I don't know if it's for me or for you, but I'm just going with it. And I stopped questioning my choice, or things that happen. I just go with what life throws at you. And if you feel compelled to do something, do it. Yeah. Especially if it's for me, it's just I get compelled to talk to certain people because I feel like I have that gift where, like I said before, they either help me or I help them. And that's just how I've been living life.
Casey Swann, I drove 48 minutes to talk to you. You recharged my batteries. You got me smiling over here.
That's awesome.
I'm sitting here just having a good time.
No, I'm glad you did. I'm glad I spoke today too, because I woke up this morning and I was crying. My eyes were puffy. I was like, man, I look like a mess this morning, and I'm doing this, and I felt so unprepared, and now I feel empowered again. And you
had a couple little small breaks while you were thinking about things.
Yeah, because I'm always going to. Your mind, I don't know. I just let my mind run, and sometimes it runs in the right direction, and sometimes I have to figure it out. And
I like to see people cry, and you did, and it was good for you.
Yeah.
And,
you have to get it out. Crying is not, don't be ashamed of crying. That's one thing I've learned is, even though as much as I may sometimes be ashamed, because I'm why am I crying in this moment? Why am I crying?
Right.
Sometimes your body knows you more than you know yourself.
It's so funny. Sometimes I'll see that same movie, and I know it's coming. I know it's coming, and I still cry.
Yep. Because you can never be prepared for those moments.
Still cry.
So, but yeah. No, thank you. I'm glad I spoke, because
thank you.
I did better than I thought I did. I was nervous. I was like, I'm going to just be horrible. I didn't know. I wasn't sure.
No, you did it.
But
Casey Swann.
That's scary, right?
Well, you did it. Yeah. You did it. Any last words for the people?
Just keep being you, and don't be ashamed of who you are. Love you. That's my big message, is just love yourself.
Well, there you have it, party people. Casey Swann. I spent, over 3 hours on this podcast, and it was so good. Casey Swann is so engaging, and she had a story to tell. You would never know. She said, I was a very shy person, very introverted early. You wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it. She was so open, so smiley, so willing to tell her story and to let people know get to know her and get to know the different facets of Casey Swann. And hopefully you learned a little bit about, things that happened in her life and why she is going the path that she's going. And after the podcast, she told me a little bit more. So, there's not just the 3 hours that you just spent with Casey Swann. There's a whole lot more. And if you want to know more about Casey Swann, I encourage you to find her on the social media, Facebook and the Instagram, Casey Swann, and learn more. This young lady. I say young, everyone under 40 is young to me. She is going places. She's had a life of downfalls and uphill, downhill. She's had hills and valleys. Let's put it that way. And she's got many ideas, many interests, and that's where we connect. I definitely have different interests. If I stay in one job, I feel stagnant. So I want to have different outlets, different facets. Even if I'm particularly just doing the DJ thing, I want to not only DJ karaoke events, but also weddings and also, different types of parties, kid parties, theme parties. I dig theme parties, especially when I have to stay on the theme. So if you have a Hawaiian luau, I just want to play Hawaiian music, man, because I want to open your mind, expand your mind. Call me crazy. And I know we use the word crazy a lot throughout this episode, but it's a word that you can use interchangeably for many different ideas. And one person's crazy could be another person's eccentricity. So the two different words, they might be synonymous, but they have different connotations. So crazy, eccentric, you be the judge. And as the Lord said, thou shalt not judge, lest the judge not, lest ye be judged. That's right. I remember my Bible, some teachings. So yes, learn more about Casey Swann. This gal, she's going places. And I look forward to spending a lot more time with Casey Swann and learning more about her as life progresses. She's on a path, and I'm looking forward to reading that book that she's going to put out real soon. I know it's coming because she showed me some notes. She knows it's happening, and she showed me. Well, it's pretty much a done deal. So Casey Swann, you got that coming up real soon, and then the facility to help people. I see nothing but good things. That's going to happen, and I look forward to hearing more. Thank you so much, Casey Swann, for being on the program, What Makes You Famous. If you want to tell your story, I encourage you. Give me a call at 501-470-6386 or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for this edition of the What Makes You Famous podcast. It's Keys Dan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.
Radio What? The music you want. Hey guys, this is Shelly G with a fast fact. The LP, long playing record, was invented by Paul Goldmark in 1948. The LP is not dead yet. More than 10 million LPs are sold every year. Do you have a fast fact? Share it with us at Interactive Radio, radiowhat.com.
Be on Radio What. Call 501-470-6386. Say your name, where you're from, and you're listening to What? The music you want is on radiowhat.com.